Hello, welcome to Wrestling Royalty, and it's been a while, like a Stain song from the early 2000s.
It's been a while. Sorry, I love that song. I love that song, man.
I'm joined by Dom, who's in very high spirits, which I love to see, as we're going to set off on an epic watch-along of one of possibly the best Royal Rumbles and one of probably the best pay-per-views of all time. But before we do that, and before we properly get to know Dom, I'm just going to lay up an intro that I've had created very recently.
Hey, that is badass.
I know, right?
That's like the opening to the Fiends theme as well. Like it like hits, it like slaps you in the face. It's huge. That's epic. Yeah.
I had a little bit done. I had to get it done professionally because I was like, if I'm going to do it, I've got to go the whole hog.
Totally, man.
Yeah, really pleased with how it looks. So welcome to the Royal Rumble 2000 watch along. As I said before, we are joined by Dom, who is becoming a very fast friend, a very good friend. You might have seen me on his channel. But he's got so many different things on. I'm going to let him intro himself, and then we'll go into how tonight's going to work.
All right, cool, man. Well, for those people that have come back to this, or those people that are with us now, I am the editor of Soundsphere magazine. So that's SOUNDSPHERE. What we do is we interview bands very similar to what some of Andy's work on Rush on Rock. We interview bands, we interview wrestling superstars, we interview artists, video game creators, comic book artists. So basically, anything in the creative industries, and we try and focus our energies on the north of England as well, because that's where we're based, up in Yorkshire. So we spotlight talent around the world, creative talent around the world, but we also try and support local regional talent as well. So that's Soundsphere. And then I also have a wrestling themed podcast called Gimme a Hull, because I am based in Hull in East Yorkshire these days. So yes, and we do watch-alongs like this for weekly stuff. So we do Raw, SmackDown, AEW. We also do the big pay-per-views. I'm having a weekend off this weekend because the Royal Rumble is my second favorite pay-per-view of the year, so I'll be off, but we will be streaming that live on the Gimme a Hull podcast. So that's Gimme. Imagine Stone Cold saying hell yeah, but spell it HULL, and then you've got us over there. So please give us as the old saying goes, give us a like and a subscribe. It helps our channel grow. We are monetized now, so any support we can get is wonderful. It helps us pay for StreamYards and platforms like this. So we love that. And then I'll be launching at the end of the year. I'll be launching WrestleSphere because it's going to focus our energy on wrestling, so that there's a little bit more streamline. A lot of our content obviously has to be music themed because we have the sound in our name. The music is central. So we've always covered, the bigger rock and metal festivals around the world. So Download, South by Southwest in the US. We've been all over the world covering music stuff, but we want to focus our energies more on sports entertainment and move that platform away from music. So I've gone off on one. WrestleSphere will launch to focus our energy and attention on wrestling away from music, because that will remain on Soundsphere, the music, arts and culture publication that we have. So in short, WrestleSphere will be launching at the end of the month. Soundsphere is what is my love, and we've interviewed some of the biggest bands and names in music and in popular culture, everyone from Ric Flair to the 1975 and Judas Priest, Rammstein, Drew McIntyre, Mick Foley we've interviewed, who is of course on this pay-per-view, one of my favorite matches of all time on this pay-per-view. So I have lived my dreams through Soundsphere, and thank you, Andy, for giving me the opportunity to spend 3 to 4 minutes waffling on about it.
No, I'd say you're such a busy guy. I'm just very thankful for you being here, and just I picked this pay-per-view because obviously with the Royal Rumble coming up on Saturday, it's always very nice to get a bit nostalgic along the way. So I don't think I could have much of a better person to sit with me for the next 2 and a bit hours. I think it's an interesting one because this pay-per-view, as we'll go into when we start it, it's got a very good undercard, probably one of the best in terms of like matches. then it gets the Royal Rumble, and there's a lot of injuries at the time around then. So we get a little bit of a lackluster build, but it's very funny as well. So yeah, let's go into how this is going to work. So basically, what I'll do is a 2-minute warning. We'll start this at 5 to 9. That I want everyone who's on just to log on to their WWE network, and then go on to the premium live events, and then find the Royal Rumble 2000 event. And then in about a minute and a half, when I say play, then we'll play it. Try and what we'll do is on our end, we'll have it turned down a little bit, because obviously copyright issues, can't be playing the audio, otherwise it'll soon get shut down. So if you can, it would be very helpful for you to open the network, 1-minute warning, and we'll get going. I'm just sharing onto various different social medias to try and get people on, because I've had a couple of messages. Are we recording this? Yes, there will be. So don't worry about that. If you can't join us right now, or you can't save the whole thing, I appreciate it's a little bit of an effort. It will be going on YouTube as well. So you'll be able to watch it back on YouTube and just sit there and listen to what me and Dom have got to say about it as well. And throughout the feed, we're going to talk about this year's Rumble as well a little bit, and what we've got going on and our predictions, etc. So yeah, we'll about 30 seconds. Let me just make sure I've got mine ready. Otherwise, this will be a bit embarrassing when Dom's watching on his own.
I'm all queued up, mate. I'm ready to go. Honestly, I was saying off stream, this is one of my favorite pay-per-views of all time, and I haven't watched it for at least a couple of years. So actually, this is going to be a joy for me to recap. So I'm dead excited.
So I must have watched it at some point recently, because it's saying that I'm like halfway through it. So I must have been watching something as part of it.
Yeah, I did that. I went back, and I'd obviously gone through the whole thing, and I was like, man, I'd forgotten how good this card is as well. Like, you know, got the Hardys and the Dudleys on here, you know, like New Age Outlaws and the Acolytes too. That's great.
Right, so 10 seconds, and then we'll get going. So as soon as I say 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, play.
Next one.
It's an interesting one, this, because this is kind of, nowadays we're very used to getting the kind of like then, now, forever. Well, you don't get that back in 2000. It wasn't around.
No, it was not. But they, again, the blood feud between Cactus Jack and Triple H is just this had so much atmosphere, so much intensity.
Yeah,
you know, this was the underdog versus the chosen one.
Yeah, and of course, this is a pay-per-view where potentially, because of the venue, it means even more, because being at Madison Square Garden, and it's nowadays they come out from the Titantron, whereas they used to always do what they do in this, which is come out of that little side entrance, which I thought was like ultra cool.
Yeah.
And that plays a big part in the Rumble and in the street fight in particular as well. So really cool.
What a poo-eating heel Triple H was at this time, you know.
This is like true golden shovel era starting to begin for Triple H here.
Yeah, man. 1-800. What was that? That was like an old school American number there. 1-800 something. The graphics on this too. The graphics, man. Oh man, we're spoiled for choice now, aren't we? Spoiled for choice these days, man.
When they come out and there's the they have the graphics kind of like superimposed on above the crowd. Like even they're slightly better than what we've just seen for the Royal Rumble title card.
Oh, dude. Look at that crowd with the Jericho sign. You know, Jericho's still reinventing himself now. Man, how lucky are we as wrestling fans? Do you know what I mean? To have had these. Look at that. I mean, there's a Taz sign there. You know, like how cool is this? The Hardy Boys T-shirt. Just want to make sure you're on the right time. I'm on 159. Just want to make sure we're on the. Jericho. Yeah, so we're just Jericho's anonymous. So I'm only a second or so behind you, if I'm behind you at all. That's good. I'm
just pausing it like and unpause it so we were bang on.
Yeah, well, we should be all good.
So we've got. So this is the first match I'll update the ticker is I believe this is when Kurt Angle was first starting with the company. But this is the debut of Taz, right?
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. Oh, mate.
So I'm just going to update that to show who we're watching at the moment.
Man, this is so cool. I love this debut as well. Such a shame what they did to Taz. Like, I think he was injured a little bit as well. Was he injured slightly for this? Oh, no, not for this, but afterwards. Was he plagued by injury? Was that why he didn't have as big a career?
So there was always rumors, wasn't there, that this was his big kind of debut, and that if you believe what was said, apparently Vince wasn't very happy with the performance, and he said he was a bit too, like his suplexes were a bit too tight. Like he didn't like the fact that it was a little bit dangerous looking.
Right. Okay.
But I know, having listened to Kurt Angle speak on it, he said he had no issue with it, and he always felt safe when he was in any of the kind of suplexes and holds and stuff. But I think it was on JR's podcast, they were talking about this. But we've got at the moment, Kurt Angle's doing his full Olympic hero. He's supposed to be he's playing it straight as a face, but he just came across as too arrogant and became a heel. But he was so good at what he did. Like,
he was amazing. He was amazing. All that smoke in the arena as well, like almost got us ready for Taz. I think even then there were no dirt sheets, but we all wanted it to be Taz, you know. I think even then it was rumored. Weirdly enough, he did the same thing for John Cena years later, didn't he?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
He was. I think it's because Kurt Angle was one of those people, like, and it's so strange because he came across from obviously like amateur wrestling, and then into the world of professional wrestling with a couple of stop-offs in. I think he actually had like a very, very short stint in ECW.
He did.
He went to one of the shows, didn't he? And they were doing like a crucifix thing, and they were like, "Nah,
didn't like the Sandman Raven storyline. That was it."
Yeah,
they're chanting, "We want Taz." That's awesome.
So Taz is from Red Hook, isn't he?
Yes, he is. Yeah.
Is it Brooklyn? Red Hook?
Look at that ovation. That never happened for him again. That whole place is buzzed.
His theme tune was cool.
Yeah, it was badass.
Hey, look, it's Solar Sequoia.
Yeah. Look at him, like, just what a badass. You wouldn't want to mess with him, would you? You wouldn't want to mess with Taz now, to be fair.
No, I remember, I feel like I owned this Royal Rumble on VHS.
I did. I certainly did.
And I probably bought it from W.H. Smith. And it was probably, I had to get someone else to buy it for me because I can't imagine I would have been old enough to actually.
Yeah. I think my nan got it for me for Christmas. That was it, yeah. Man, such a shame. They did the same thing with Raven too. Like, such a shame. Such fanfare behind them. But if Vince didn't like them, they didn't get them. If Vince didn't like them, they didn't go any further, did they? You know?
Yeah, and I think at this era, for probably the next like 3 or 4, because of how hot the industry was, you didn't really get much of a second chance because they were spoiled. They were just spoiled for the riches. Like the amount of talent they had, and maybe at this time, as I said earlier, they had a couple of injuries. Like Stone Cold at this point isn't here. He's covering his neck surgery, isn't it? At this point, and he's been written out by the car crash, I think, or backstage accident.
Oh yeah, the Rikishi thing.
Well, that eventually became the Rikishi thing, I guess.
Yeah. So Kurt Angle with a suplex there.
That's belly to belly.
Nice work. Go on.
This is one of those matches when you look back at it, you probably think, like, actually having 2 suplex machines like in the ring with each other, like, it's such a technical masterclass. As they do a belly to belly off the top.
Beautiful. Beautiful overhead suplex. Kurt Angle on the rope. Kurt Angle does a great job putting over Taz here as well.
Does, yeah. Sorry, what were you going to say before, by the way?
I can't remember. I'm so enamored. I forget how enamored I am with this match. Like I love Taz's debut. It's one of my all-time favorite wrestling memories because I always loved ECW.
Yeah.
And like I forgot how much I love this until just now. Like this Taz never looked better than this, which is such a shame when you think about it.
What did you think of his run when he went on commentary?
Oh, he's a great commentator.
Yeah.
He's funny as anything. Like, I'm so glad that he got that opportunity. And actually, that is a testament to, I suppose, numerous institutions, WWE, Impact, and or TNA and AEW now for giving him that chance and recognizing it. Taz is one hell of a personality, you know?
Yeah. With that T-bone suplex.
Just got the T-bone there. Beautiful.
Taz mission's locked in.
Taz mission. I love seeing Hook lock it in now. You know, when Hook does it. Red rum, as it is now. Here's a question for you, a quick one. Do you think Hook stays in AEW for the rest of his career, or do you see Hook going to an Impact Wrestling or a WWE or a New Japan?
I can't see him go to anywhere else out of the States personally at this stage. But we'll come back to that because Taz has just won the match via submission using the Taz mission. And a bit of context on this, that the kind of what happens afterwards is Kurt Angle says actually it was an illegal chokehold and the victory doesn't count for him, so he's still undefeated. Is the kind of angle that he runs with afterwards. As the referees and EMTs, and that's Sergeant Slaughter being like out on camera as an aide, just checking on him. He's going to get on the stretcher with some air. But yeah, for anyone who's not kind of aware, obviously Hook being Taz's son, I liked the introduction they gave him, but I feel like it's cooled a lot on him. So I think his career, the next kind of like year, maybe year and a half, will kind of dictate where he ends up going. I don't know if stay with AEW because he'll have to be in it for the long haul if he is going to stay there. Yeah,
I think you're right. I think he seems to have had a bit of a resurgence with Jungle Boy.
Yes.
Jungle Boy seems to have given him a bit more, you know.
Some very young-looking Hardy Boys and an even younger-looking Michael Cole.
Oh, man. Terry Reynolds, man. Wow. Terry Reynolds is amazing. I loved Terry Reynolds too. Goldust, man. Always loved the underdog, you know. Always loved the weird performer. And Marlena, Terry Reynolds was ace. She was a great manager.
So at the moment, we're getting the kind of the background behind the match that's going to happen between the Hardy Boys and the Dudley Boys in a table match. So we see Terry Reynolds at this point is the Hardy Boys manager.
Yeah,
she's probably short-lived. I don't remember her being around too long with them.
Yeah, it was quite short. Look at Michael Cole. Was that?
So the Hardy Boys saying that they should, they were told they would never be in the WWF at the time. So they're just told Terry that she's not under any circumstances to come out at ringside, as it's too dangerous for her. As we see New York looking beautiful.
Very nice. Yeah, so Terry went from being Goldust's wife and manager. Then she went to the Hardys. I think she was with the Hardys for a while. Then she was in PMS with Jacqueline.
The names, man.
Yeah, the names.
Good era.
But Terry was one of my favorite managers. She was great, Marlena, as she was with Goldust. It's interesting, actually. Quite a few of these performers are still going. Matt Hardy, Bubba Ray Dudley, still going in Impact.
Yeah, and Devon's just recently
Left WWE. Yeah, he was a
in the backstage like booking or agent role, and one of his tweets made it sound like he's ready to go kind of back into the ring. So because he said about maybe some point down the line I'll have a reunion with Bubba.
Oh, nice. Yeah, I thought he had an injury that many couldn't. But I mean, if they could do it, that'd be cool. I like that. I like the Bubba's. I like Bubba's old the Dudley Boys old theme as well. That was great.
Yeah, I really liked it. That used to be when the kind of Bobby Lashley has the kind of reverse version of they are kind of like pyro, but it's the very like the string one that kind of goes up and down to the roof.
Yeah.
It's really cool.
Hey, Dean. How you doing? Dean's in on the comments on Facebook. Nice.
Dean.
Hey,
Dean
how you doing, mate?
So,
you all right, dude? How you doing? It's been a while.
Dean meet Dom.
Well, we met.
Oh,
we met before.
Amazing. Yeah. Dean, I appreciate Dean being here because he is starting work at 4 a.m. So
it's because of Clash, isn't it? As we met at Clash.
Oh yeah, of course, yeah. There you go. You know Dean.
We got the heels are admonishing the New York crowd, Andy.
Did you ever really buy the Dudleys as like full-blown heels?
Yes.
Yeah.
They were great heels at one time. Yeah. And particularly in Impact. In this run, they were very anti-hero-esque. But like this run in WWE, they were very much anti-heroes. But in Impact, with what was it, Aces and Eights?
Yeah.
They were proper heels. And you could see they could properly do it. To me, Matt Hardy's already limping at this time. I've seen Matt Hardy limp a little bit.
So Matt always, to me, looks like he's always like stiffer compared to Jeff. Like Jeff always seems to be fluid when he was like in the ring and in matches. But I know what you mean. By the way, that Bubba bomb before, like how high did Jeff High get?
Yeah, Jeff the butt drop, man. Yeah, oh, man. It's so painful. Oh, I remember that day? I'm looking forward to seeing you again one day, mate. I had some lovely conversations with you. I'd love to catch up with you again. You've got one hell of a talent as well. You're an incredible artist. I've been following your stuff. I subscribed to you on YouTube as well.
Do you watch the coffee?
Yeah, I've seen. Yeah. Real man. Just like what strikes me is that he's exactly the same when you talk to him as he is like on. Do you know what I mean? There's no showman. Obviously, like you're just a great personality, but there's no alter ego when it's just you, just chilling, painting, drinking coffee, and that's exactly the same as I remember talking to you, and I love that. I still remember those conversations we had. Real good memories. Actually, some of my favorite memories from that whole time was meeting you guys, actually, because it proper chilled me out, because it was my first time doing anything like that in that context. Oh, nice block there from Bubba Ray blocking. Jeff Hardy went straight into that table there. Bubba Ray selling that chair shot like a legend as well.
Chair shot, man. Like it just every time you go back to this kind of era and you see full-on headshots with chairs, it's wince inducing. It's just
it is.
See like that Mankind versus Rock I Quit match.
Oh yeah, straight in the face. Yeah. I just want to alert you because I always do the same thing. We're currently on a different match than we're scrolling along the bottom. Currently it's scrolling Kurt Angle and Taz, and we have moved. I do that all the time. So we're currently on the Hardys and the Dudleys. For those watching, double suplex by the Hardys onto Bubba Ray Dudley. So here's a question for you, a quick one, for both for you, for anybody in the chat, very quick. Jeff Hardy to wrestle again, yes or no? As in present day 2023, He is obviously, he's in a bit of trouble at the moment. Would you have him wrestle a match again? Yes or no?
Jeff Hardy.
Yeah.
So Jeff Hardy and Chris Jericho were the two people when I was growing up in this era that I had posters on my wall of. Like always, like loved seeing them in matches, would root for them no matter like who they were against or whatever. But the issue in 2023 is unless Jeff can be completely comfortable in himself, then I don't want to see it. I don't want to see him in a ring. If that's the reason why he kind of like slips back, then like thank you for every sort of memory that he's ever made, but it's time to hang it up and concentrate on yourself now. Would be my opinion. But if it's what he needs to kind of get through that, and that's what actually it's like, it's something that helps him and he finds it cathartic to be in the ring, then I hope he does come back, but only once he's clean. But some of the risks he takes is insane. Like the match he had with Darby Allin just seemed to be a bit too much for me.
Yeah, totally, man. Yeah, I agree. I mean, when you say comfortable in himself, do you mean that he's using those problems to mask some sort of inner insecurity? Do you think? I mean, it's quite deep, I suppose.
Yeah, like I watched one of the documentaries that he did where he's like on his on the farm and he's like doing his he has a building that he kind of graffitis on his property, and he like just does different kind of artwork, and he seems to get a bit of a release from doing things that are creative, whether it's because he's in his band, he's got his band that he kind of does his music, and he always seems to have creative outlets. But yeah, like as long as he's comfortable in himself, whatever decision he makes, like for his mental health, anything, like it's got to be his decision. The good thing is, I don't think whether it was with WWE or whether it's with AEW now, I don't think he'll get any pressure either way. I think it's a decision.
Yeah, no, I think you're right. I mean, maybe one more match. Maybe he comes back for a special, and does one. Because Hardy's great, but I'd love to watch that documentary. You have to send it to me. I've never seen a Jeff Hardy documentary. I'd love to watch something like that.
I love this. This is fantastic. They have the camera shot where you see
Jeff
lying on the table. Matt's put him there, and he climbs the top rope. And he goes to leg drop him. Devon moves.
Yeah.
Rests against the next table, and then seemingly out of nowhere, Jeff just comes flying out. Goes for it and he moves again.
That's crazy. Yeah, lovely spot.
The camera angle is fantastic for the
Jeff, man. Like again, he's like Darby at this point, isn't he? Jeff reminds me of Darby Allin here. This is Darby Allin, but Jeff Hardy. Interesting point from Dean. Bean and gone, I reckon. I get scared he'll put his hip out when he does that dance thrust on the Titantron. The Duke, he calls that. I realized I only found that out last year. The Jeff Hardy dance is called the Juke, as in Juke.
Oh, fair enough. There you go. There's a fact of the night so far.
There you go. We're getting the Dudley bomb there through the tables. Matt Hardy through the table.
So the rules on this one is different to how they do it now, because I think nowadays you only have to put one other team through in a tag team tables match.
Yeah.
This one, it was
both
of them through.
Bubba's selling here, man. He's just like waddling around, like selling the chaos. I think it's great.
Do you reckon he is selling? I think he got hit that hard on the head.
Maybe. I mean, maybe. Yeah, maybe. That was what a spot. The Bubba bomb, the power bomb through the table.
So if you are just joining us, we are currently, let me just check the time, is 21 minutes and 45 seconds into Royal Rumble 2000. Currently watching tables match between the Hardy Boys and Dudley Boys. I'm joined by my special guest, Dom.
Hey, guys.
Twitter handle is there. Give him a follow. He's got loads of cool things going on, and it's just going to get even better as he ramps up his ventures into the January into February. And he's got a very big weekend. Last couple of weekends coming up with the Rumble. So Dom, if you again just want to recap what you've got going on.
Absolutely, man. Absolutely. Yeah, so I run Soundsphere, Soundsphere. We do music, arts, and culture around the world, but we're based in the north of England. So we have interviewed some of the biggest metal, rock, and indie bands on the planet. Everyone from Judas Priest to the 1975 via Rammstein, and we also do some wrestling stuff, some comic book stuff, some video game stuff. It's all there on the site soundspheremag.com. Which I will, if you follow me, you can find it there. I'll be launching WrestleSphere to focus my attention and energy, or our attention and energy, because there's more people involved than just me, on sports entertainment. We're going to be doing some wrestling stuff, some MMA stuff over there. The WrestleSphere will launch at the end of January. And we also have the Gimme a Hull Yeah podcast, which Andy has been on numerous times. That's imagine Stone Cold saying gimme a hell yeah and replace it with Hull. And we do wrestling watch-alongs. We're going to be doing one for the Royal Rumble this weekend. And we have wrestling interviews on there. Some that we did around Andy with Clash of the Castle this last year. So wrestling interviews, WWE, AEW, Impact Wrestling stuff on there. So I'm sure something on there will appeal to some of you guys. So please go and follow and subscribe to Gimme a Hull Yeah if you can. And that's the short version, because we have an action-packed Royal Rumble 2000 to continue on with Bubba Ray Dudley about to senton bomb Matt Hardy, and a low blow from Jeff there. Nice.
Getting another headshot. Another headshot. 2 headshots for Bubba.
Oh, there you go. There's a second one. Yeah, I'm a couple. But there he is falling down. Bubba Ray's gone down. So now we've got Jeff and Matt. They're both one member down.
The thing that's really weird is like at this stage, Bubba's already been eliminated, and so is Matt. But they lay Matt down that he was going to eliminate again, so he needs to eliminate Jeff, not Matt. So I've never noticed that before.
Yeah, man.
And there's a swanton bomb by Jeff Hardy from the entrance from the arena concourse.
Yeah, that's insane, isn't it?
Down. What do you say? What, a good 10, 15 feet?
Oh, definitely. There's Matt carrying Jeff, just dumping him over the barrier. I never noticed that before. That's funny. Just dumps him over the barrier.
Yeah. He's just done a headfirst dive off the stage, but let's just throw the air.
I thought it was really nice. I always thought it was really nice that he carried him, but I've only just seen this whole. I've never seen that before, where he literally just goes boom.
So here's a quick thing. Have you noticed who the referee is in this match?
Oh, is it Teddy? Is that Teddy Long?
Yeah.
Yeah, no way. I forget he was a ref first.
Teddy Long, Theodore Long.
Theodore Long, yeah, of course. Just getting that repeat of the swanton. I love them. I always wanted a pair of them Hardy Boys pants. I never could find them. They're always go on.
They're like what are they called? The trousers.
The Jenko ones, the baggy Mosher ones. They were too baggy. They were too baggy. So they were huge. They would trail in the the puddles or whatever. But those pants were great. But I never figured out what they were.
So again, I think it was on one of the ones I'd watched previously. They talk about that a lot of their wardrobe that the Hardy Boys did was always just created by themselves. Like they did all their kind of own fashion and ring attire. But the trousers definitely look like they bought them from somewhere because they always had matching pairs. But
yeah, and then later on as well, years later, they just kept on to matching pairs as well. There's Kurt Angle saying he was illegally choked out.
Still selling. He's kind of wobbly on his feet, and we're back to JR and King. Probably of a certain era. JR and King will always be the best commentators duo. For me, it just instantly takes you back to the late 90s and early 2000s when you see those two together.
Oh man, absolutely classic.
Sergeant Slaughter coming out. and getting a welcome.
Oh man, there you go. Tony Guerrero as well, 5-time tag team champion, Sergeant Slaughter.
It's just so like simple. I mean, this isn't going to be very PC viewing for anyone who is watching. I'm pretty sure this is something to do with the women at the time doing.
Oh yeah. That's why thingy was. That's why Terry Reynolds was dressed in that way. Yeah.
So we probably won't, if we were a bit quiet on this, we might not talk about it too much because this kind of section of the Attitude Era hasn't aged particularly well.
No, it has not. No.
So it is refreshing nowadays to see that, you know, we get main events and kind of the women's roster is given a chance to actually showcase what they can do rather than just be kind of subjected to lingerie fashion or like kind of, I don't know what this is supposed to be, but
yeah, this is it's interesting actually because I haven't watched this for a long time, but interesting to look back at this time,
especially with people like Ivory who are obviously like very wrestling minded,
yes,
orientated, having to do these kind of segments. Whereas you do have the likes of Terry, who's maybe a bit more comfortable doing it. But
yeah,
this is when like people talk about how good the Attitude Era was. Personally, like my belief is I actually preferred the Ruthless Aggression era.
yeah,
for me, it was a bit more exciting, and this was very much a like, oh, I'm watching it at midnight on Channel 4, and I probably should be in bed, but like I'm just going to see TV on sort of stuff. So it was interesting to see at the time.
I do remember that. Yeah, I remember doing the same thing. There's Jacqueline as well. Jacqueline was great. Loved Jacqueline. Very, very talented.
Yeah. This is also like full. I do like King, but this is full sleazeball.
Yes, this is. Yeah.
BB, who I don't actually remember.
No, I don't remember either. Barbara Bush, EMT by trade. So does she work? Apparently is she an EMT for WWE? I don't know. That's confusing, isn't it?
This might be a good opportunity to talk about this year's Royal Rumble.
Yes.
So while we're doing that, I have prepared. Look at that! Bang! Straight into a.
Oh, nice! Yeah, very cool.
We've got. I think Royal Rumble is probably my favorite outside of WrestleMania in terms of pay-per-views for the year. I love Money in the Bank, which I'm really excited to hopefully get tickets for when they come across for the O2. Yeah. And as Dean says, we have a very electrifying looking Royal Rumble graphic that WWE have been putting out this year.
Yes, it's almost like they're hinting at something, isn't it, dude?
Yeah. Yes, hedging their bets somewhat because everyone seems to be looking at someone, but they haven't kind of said who. So maybe we'll see a certain electrifying superstar. Maybe we won't. However, I'm going to just go straight in and ask you the big question. And let's start with Women's Royal Rumble. Who do you think is going to win?
That's a great question. I'd say there's nobody hotter at the moment, nobody on a bigger winning streak than Rhea Ripley, who obviously we had the opportunity to speak to at Clash of the Castle. Rhea Ripley was on fire then, and it has been riding a wave with the Judgment Day ever since. And I would say made the Judgment Day particularly relevant, or helped make the Judgment Day more relevant rather over the last few months. So I think, I think Rhea Ripley's winning it for me. There's nobody else I would give that honor to.
It's really difficult to disagree with you. I was out on a walk earlier at lunchtime thinking if there's anyone else really who can stake a claim to kind of, I would be surprised if Becky Lynch wins it. I think she might do well in it. But I think the only other way I can see this not being Rhea Ripley is if in the match earlier on between Alexa Bliss and Bianca Belair, if Bianca drops the title, I do wonder. Oh, sorry. Cheers, Dean. Appreciate
Yeah,
you.
see you, mate. Thanks for popping in.
And I'll send you the link when you can watch it again when you're working or something. Yeah, if Bianca is to drop the title, that would be really interesting. If she would then kind of go on, because I think it would be cool to see Bianca versus Charlotte, because that would be the third horsewoman that she'll have faced at WrestleMania. But there's a lot of logistics there, because I think they do try and keep partners together with the Street Profits being Raw. You know, we'll see how that works out. But yeah, it's difficult to look past Rhea Ripley, to be honest.
Yeah, definitely. Very difficult to look past Rhea. She's just riding a wave of success at the moment. And again, momentum-wise, would I want to see Rhea Ripley versus Alexa Bliss? No, not so much. But Rhea Ripley versus Bianca Belair, Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte. And I'm you know me, I'm an Alexa fan, I'm a Brave fan, and those two are interlinked at the moment. But I think the more exciting match is absolutely going to be something like Bianca Belair and Rhea Ripley, or Rhea Ripley versus Charlotte Flair, or even Rhea Ripley versus Roxy as she was in Ring of Honor, but Roxanne Perez, I could go for that too if they decided to cash in NXT. Also cash in the Rumble shot on the NXT champion. As much as I enjoy, as many other people don't, the Alexa Bliss, Uncle Howdy, whatever stuff, I don't necessarily want to see her have a title while that's happening. So my money is on Bianca Belair to retain, and for Rhea Ripley to win the Rumble.
Yep. Yeah, definitely. I think it would be interesting, because they could go either way with who Rhea faces, because Charlotte, she obviously has some past kind of beef with. When Charlotte won the Royal Rumble, she picked Rhea when she was NXT champion, and Charlotte won the NXT championship, which was, I guess, a little bit of a shock. And then I think it came out that Rhea had to go back during the pandemic because of some visa issues. So she dropped the title to her. So there's that kind of history behind that side.
Yeah, of course, yeah.
But then I'd also say they've been waiting months to pull the trigger on Rhea versus Bianca, because they've had kind of passed in the backstage area, and they've like had knowing looks, and they've kind of showed, like, stared each other down and had discussions. But yeah, it's an interesting one, isn't it, to see which way they go with it. So
yeah, I think I'm trying to think. Yeah, it just seems more original. It seems more interesting. Again, as much as I like Alexa Bliss, as much as I like that stuff, I think Rhea and Bianca is the money feud. Yeah.
Unfortunately, I have just remembered what happens at the end of this. Segment, and I'm interested to see if the network edited it, because I definitely remember what happens on the VHS.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah. So while we've got a good kind of break to talk about it, the other one is the men's Royal Rumble, which I think we've had about half of the field announced already. So, in your opinion, is there a winner within the ones announced, or is the winner could come from somewhere else?
That is the question, man. So, again, you're right. This is a good break, and as much as I love, as much as I love and respect, the talent in this ring, this is not a good use of the talent in this ring, as we're talking about the 2000 Royal Rumble. So yes, it's a very good time to break and focus on this year's Royal Rumble. And I would say you've got two. I would have said without question, until yesterday or until Raw this week, I would have said without question Cody Rhodes to win until Monday Night Raw, and until one Sami Zayn was saved by Jey Uso. And I think that, I've forgotten about this bit.
Yeah, this unfortunately I remembered, and I don't know if they'll
No, they don't. No, it's definitely blurred out.
It's very distracting, by the way.
It,
Try and hold a decent conversation while this. Yeah, there we go. That's fine.
There we go. There we go. Go on, May. Bless you.
On Mark Henry, get that get it covered up.
Bless Mark Henry. Mark Henry in this gimmick. Bless him. We can't, it's Mark Henry.
I mean, the one thing I will say is fair play to Mae Young for being game to actually do that. I can't. There's not many people who would be able to bear all, as you know, as you might say, in front of an entire like packed arena.
I mean, Mae Young, absolutely, yeah.
Yeah. So in that respect, fair play to her, but 100% hasn't aged well. So we'll kind of leave it as that on this one.
I forgot Mae Young wins it. Oh dear.
As we just see a big red cross across the screen saying censored.
Yeah.
Saving everyone from having to.
There's Jacqueline, like, look at me. Look. Oh dear. There's the cat as well.
Cat in a was that bubble wrap bikini?
Yes.
Who was she at this stage? Was she married to King?
Was she? I didn't know she was married to. Well, there you go. I did not know they were married.
So here's the thing, like, and it will kind of put it into context for you. When it gets to WrestleMania 17, and Paul Heyman is the commentator, and King's not there. So the reason why King isn't on commentary with JR for WrestleMania 17 is because there was a dispute between Kat and WWE where she walked out and left the company, and in solidarity, King left with her because they were married. So he left the biggest WrestleMania of all time to be with his wife and kind of take her side on things, which I think went south a few years or not long after that.
Wow! Yeah, there you go. You see, I've learned something new today. There is the coach, very young looking coach.
Is it WF New York Times Square, which I always grew up wanting to go to, and then found out the manager who they got to run it was done for embezzlement. He was stealing.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I knew it closed down. There's China and Chris Jericho.
Oh, this is when they're co-intercontinental champions.
Yes.
Bill Hebner.
Wow, man. Chris Jericho, man. He still, he still looks good. Chris Jericho still looks good now. Le Champion. China, of course, legendary as well. First ever female.
China's great there, by the way.
What?
China's looking great there.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
This is back at the time when you would actually have to watch the don't try this at home, because you would generally try and do like a pedigree.
Yes. Oh, I did. I did. I got in so much trouble. I definitely hurt some bones because I was trying to do like, swanton bombs that were basically just flops off my bed. I just flopped off my bed onto the floor. It basically like a forward roll. My senton was a forward roll.
I mean, there's probably a lot of people who'd be exactly the same. Have you seen Hardcore Holly?
Yes, Hardcore Holly. Can we just have a moment for? I mean, a lot of people. I can't speak for him as a human being, but Hardcore Holly was absolutely criminally underrated. I thought. He was in my first favorite tag team with the 1-2-3 Kid when he was Sparkplug Bob Holly. Because he used to have a gimmick as a racing driver.
That's right.
Yeah.
He went from that, and then he just was Bob Holly for a while, wasn't he? Before he actually became Holly.
Yeah, and he was Hardcore Holly. China, man. Wow, the conditioning. Like just an incredible, you know, in an age and a time where this wasn't the done thing, China was just a trailblazer. And it's such a shame, obviously, we've talked about this before. We're not like your stereotypical wrestling journalists. But such a shame that so many things happened backstage that derailed China's run in WWE, and all that stuff, all the drama. I will stand by as we move on briefly from China, because again, China is an absolute legend. This is the greatest entrance theme of all time, bar none. Bar none. People can say Motorhead, Triple H. People can say The Rock. People can say The Undertaker. Break the Walls Down for Chris Jericho, for me, is the greatest wrestling theme of all time.
Yeah, Jim Johnson, just some of the themes that he created, either on his own or with or other people, was just unreal. The talent that man had, like everyone, like I read
it was great.
Comments that he said, where he's like, nowadays it's very generic and like there's no kind of character behind it, but you as soon as you heard someone's music, you were like, knew who that was instantly. Like there's no disputing it, and it was part of them.
Absolutely, yeah.
Jericho cutting a promo as only he can do, as one of the best in the business on the microphone. Ever. I like to when he does this like slight like ever.
Yeah.
So this is a billed as a triple threat match, but at the time, China and Triple H, Chris Jericho are co-intercontinental champions. I believe, did they? Was it? I'm trying to remember how they became co-champions. They pinned someone at the same time, didn't they?
I think that was it. Yeah, it was actually a clever storyline, a cool storyline. But yeah. China's just looking at Jericho and Hardy. There's China getting a slap in. China getting slaps into Hardcore Holly and Jericho. Boots to Hardcore Holly.
I'm kind of surprised that they've never actually repeated that storyline of having co-champions, who like wins it at the same time as someone else.
Yeah. No, it's a good idea. I'm sure they have done, but it's
Did they do it with the? I can't remember if they did it with the Divas Championship where they had the split belts, or if that was, they just decided that they were like co-champions. But could see something similar at Vengeance Day with Toxic Attraction.
Oh yeah, it's an interesting time. Yeah, you bring that up. Yeah, that could happen.
I'm a big fan of Gigi Dolan. I think she's great, by the way.
Gigi Dolan's great, fantastic. Yeah, I actually nearly had the opportunity of interviewing her before she signed with WWE. I was gutted not to do that because we agreed to do it. Just a really interesting personality, I think. Really, really cool. I'm really glad that she got that Gigi Dolan got the call for WWE. I'd read somewhere that she was actually persuaded to go to WWE over AEW.
Oh, okay.
I think somebody in AEW, weirdly enough, somebody persuaded her to go to WWE over AEW.
I was never too sure if it was because of if it was a bad breakup with Darby that she decided to go to WWE instead.
No, they're still friends as far as I can gather. Okay. Yeah. I think they've done a couple of interviews together since they've broken up, just chatting about music and stuff.
Yeah, I feel like she would be the kind of interview that we would really enjoy because I think she'd be into the the kind of rock scene.
Absolutely, yeah, absolutely, mate.
So yeah, that's next weekend, next Saturday night. You've got Vengeance Day from NXT on live from Charlotte, North Carolina, as they keep telling us.
There you go.
Chris Jericho did that so well because his foot slipped as he did that dive outside.
Yeah, man. Jericho again. Jericho's conditioning here is great too. Jericho looks like $1 million. China there with the back elbow.
With DDT.
DDT. Excuse me. How Collie breaks it up. So you forget how many big matches Hardcore Holly was actually in. Like, he was in some pretty big matches. He even had a run with Lesnar, didn't he? He had a feud with Lesnar for a while.
Yeah, where he broke his arm, wasn't it?
Yeah.
I feel like I remember. Did he have quite a big feud with Kurt Angle at one point as well?
Maybe, yeah.
I remember seeing Hardcore Holly at a convention, like a Comic-Con in Newcastle, and the guy is huge, like massive. And he looked like he was a bulldog chewing a wasp the whole time as well. So he fully lived his gimmick. As we see the kind of actions continuing with China and Jericho both going to the top turnbuckle.
Okay, they're going to do some double.
A bit of a mess.
Yeah. Double splash. China went first, then Jericho.
I think China might have kind of like landed very central, which didn't give much room to get involved. It's interesting when you listen to some of the podcasts, or Low Blow by China's Slick. You listen to some of the podcasts of people who are involved in this era, in particular JR, who was obviously not just on commentary, he was talent relations as well, wasn't he? And he said that one of the issues with China was basically that she didn't want to wrestle the women at the time. She was really wanting to get involved in like the men's matches. So again, one of the matches at WrestleMania 17 where she goes against Ivory around that era, like I think people were kind of a bit wary that she was not really interested in the women's division. But when you see a match like this, you can kind of understand why, because
totally, yeah, she just nailed it. Yeah, this was great. Lovely crossbody there by Jericho. China as well hit the pedigree, of course.
Well, big boots, Jericho's face.
This is actually a really good match. Credit to everybody involved in this. So there's any surprises? Any surprises you think will happen this? I know we're not on a break. I know we're in the middle of a match, but we can maybe pick this up on the next break. But just quickly, yes or no? Do you think we'll get any surprises at the end of this Rumble?
Yeah, and I think you're going to be happy with one of my predictions. I think Jay White is a done deal.
That's what I was going to say. If Jay White, I've taken this day off. I've taken this night off, and Emma is obviously working the next day, and she's going to be in bed next to me watching this. I won't cry in the same way I did when Bray Wyatt came back, but I will go nuts. Jay White is my second favorite wrestler in the world. I think he has more charisma. We recently did a competition between myself and Ant as to who was the best wrestler in the world over on Give Me a Whole Yeah. And I said Roman Reigns just to be the heel. I said Roman Reigns was the best wrestler in the world, and he said Kenny Omega. I made the argument. Actually, everybody agreed with me. We put a poll up, and everybody agreed with me that it was Roman Reigns, which is odd, but I appreciate that. But my actual pick is Jay White. I think Jay White is the best wrestler in the world. We'll talk about that in a bit. As Jericho bulldogs China and hits a lion salt there. Just about 1, 2, 3. Jericho beat China to become the undisputed Intercontinental Champion.
There's a couple of moves in there where you're reminded of just how good Jericho is, because when he hit that lion salt off the rope, China was quite far across the ring, and I think he slightly misjudged. but he managed to kind of like style it out and almost like slip backwards into the cover.
Yeah.
And like it's a little thing like that, and the one earlier where he jumped up onto the second turnbuckle, went to push off and jump out of the ring, and his foot slipped ever so slightly, but he managed to regain his composure on the way out of the ring. That kind of proved, even at this stage of Jericho's career, how good he is and was in the ring.
Yeah, he's amazing.
He kind of pushed up his hands, doesn't he?
What's that?
When he hits the ground off that, he pushes back.
He pushes back, yeah. Chyna's staring daggers into Jericho.
Is the Rock, very young looking Rock with hair.
He is, with hair.
But this is possibly when he is at his most over, and people will just chant his name because he didn't have Stone Cold to contend with. So he's currently being interviewed by Michael Cole.
New York City. I love it. Yeah, again, this is serendipitous. We could see this man in Royal Rumble in 2023. How surreal is that? We are watching the Royal Rumble 2000, and we could see The Rock,
23 years later after this.
Yeah.
This is probably one of the better promos that he cut, because he's playing down the Big Show's chances of winning, and he's putting over Mosh from the Headbangers and Crash Holly, saying his favorite as he crudely pushes away Michael Cole. So yeah, basically what we have. What do you think the chances are, like, of Rock actually being back on Sunday?
I don't think he's going to. I don't think he'll be. I don't know. It's such a weird one, because if he's in the Rumble, then Sami Zayn isn't winning it and Cody Rhodes isn't winning it, so he's not going to be in the Rumble, is he? Will he show up? Will it be hinted at? Possibly. Is he going to be at WrestleMania? Yes.
I think he will be at WrestleMania
I truly think he will be at WrestleMania, yes. But in order to sell out Mania, and it must be close already, you probably have. Would you have a hint? Because that's a point. Can you sell out Los Angeles WrestleMania on the potential of a Rock appearance? Does he even need to be? He doesn't even need to be at the Rumble, right? Do you know what I mean? It's not going to make So, but the question is, do I think he's at the Rumble? Think of did I say? Am I contradicting myself? Do I think he's at the Rumble? Do I want him to be at the Rumble? Yes. Do I think he's at the Rumble? No. That's what I think. Yeah.
No, fair enough.
I don't know if I already said I think he is going to be at the Rumble during this stream. It's been an hour, and I've been enamored with going back on this nostalgic ride with you. But do I think The Rock will be at the Royal Rumble? No, I do not. Do I think he'll be at WrestleMania? Yes, I do.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I think I kind of agree, and it's probably one of those ones where if WrestleMania hadn't been selling so well, then they might have thrown a bit more money and a bit more pressure on The Rock. But because it is pretty much sold out already, and they're kind of dripping tickets through every so often, I do just wonder if there's actually, like, as you say, maybe they don't need him, but it also feels like they need to tie up the Roman Reigns storyline, and this is probably the best way they've ever chance they're going to have, because I think his schedule and the way things have gone, like, you could probably have it. I don't think it should be for the title if they have a match. At this stage, I'm not even sure if they have a match or The Rock just gets involved somehow doing it. I also would like to discuss a theory while we're just seeing the promo package, pre-match package for the Acolytes versus New Age Outlaws for the Tag Team Championships. Men's Royal Rumble. So I wasn't on with you on Friday, and I know you were doing the Raw watch along on Monday as well. But when Roman Reigns says your test comes on Saturday at the Royal Rumble, I just wonder if he's going to help Roman win the title, and he successfully defends. But then he says that wasn't your test. Your test is to win the Rumble, and then you'll prove it to me at WrestleMania. And
that's clever. That's clever. Yeah, that's a great bit of booking. Yeah. So it was a theory I was listening to earlier. That it's actually a test for Paul Heyman. I quite like that.
Okay.
The test is to keep Sami Zayn away from him this week, but because Paul Heyman wants Roman Reigns to hate Sami Zayn,
right.
Paul Heyman doesn't keep him away, and Roman Reigns is trying to test Paul Heyman's loyalty now because obviously Sami Zayn's as after last week, Sami Zayn's loyalty has been proven, right? But it's actually Paul Heyman that is campaigning for Sami Zayn to be out of the bloodline. So I thought that was a really interesting theory that actually it could be a test for Paul Heyman, as in like a little swerve. But I think more likely is your pitch. More likely is that we are going to see, something like that. Your test is to win the Rumble. Your big test is to win the Rumble and lay down for me at WrestleMania. But then. Why? The problem I have with that is if he wins the Rumble, doesn't mean he can't win the Rumble. I suppose if he doesn't win the Rumble under your theory, if Cody wins the Rumble, then he's kicked out of the bloodline. He hasn't passed his test. Because I was going to say, if you have Sami win, which is what the world is campaigning for right now, Kofi Mania Mark II, Sami Mania, as of pretty much this week. Because everyone before this week would have probably gone, let's have Cody win. But Sami Zayn is so over now. Do you know what I mean? But if Cody wins the Rumble, that's great, and that seems to be the way to go. But I don't know, man. What do you do? It's quite an interesting conversation to be having. Quite an exciting time to be watching the Royal Rumble with watching this Royal Rumble with you, but watching the Royal Rumble the weekend, because I'm genuinely excited because either way, you either have Cody win in my head, and the ultimate triumphant return, or you have Sami Zayn win, and that's mind-boggling. But then, how do you bring The Rock back at WrestleMania? What does The Rock doesn't have a match with Roman Reigns at WrestleMania then?
It's probably the first one in a long time where there's no outright favorite to win, because there's ones where you can kind of be like, well, this person might win, or like, I think it's like the women's one, I think is fairly down the line. Like it's Rhea or a shock. There's not much in between. This one, I don't see that it's not a shock if Sami wins. It's not a shock if
man, I would be shocked if they had Sami win. Like he's a favorite now, arguably, but if they actually pull the trigger on him winning, then my mind will be blown. My mind will be blown that they're actually going to try and do Kofi Mania Mark II with Sami Zayn, because but it messes up Cody's return plans, does it not? What do you do? What do you do with?
It depends if they're finished, because they still left it slightly untied for him and Seth. But Seth seems to be going more face these days, so it's difficult to.
Yeah.
But that's also not to say that there's a reason why Cody can't start a feud with someone between now and WrestleMania and tie that up. Like he's only really had him versus Seth, and that's it. So that would mean his second one is, straight away is going into a championship feud. I'm not convinced it's the right way to go. Sorry, I'm slightly distracted because I am just looking up on Sky Bet what the odds are at the moment on the winners.
I'd be interested to know that too. I'm just watching this breakdown as Billy Gunn hits a famouser on Bradshaw and wins. Billy Gunn's fantastic attire. I'm pretty sure he's wearing a thong. Billy Gunn. Let's have a moment for Billy Gunn and how great Billy Gunn still is as well. Love Billy Gunn. He's still wrestling.
Yeah.
Talk about people that are still wrestling. Look how good Ron Simmons looks there. Farouk. A lot of these talents are in their heyday here, you know.
Yeah, Ron Simmons is in ridiculous shape, by the way.
He is, yeah. You know, you forget he was a WCW World Champion. You forget he's done so many things. You know?
So just for your and everyone else's benefits that might be watching, they're offering on Sky Bet for an outright winner. Cody Rhodes is 10-11 odds-on favorite, and is 1-10 to be in the final four. Sami Zayn is second favorite with at 2-1, and 4-5 to be in the final four. The Rock's 4-1 to win. Steve Austin is fourth favorite at 11-2. Seth Rollins is fifth favorite at 14-1. Bobby Lashley. So Bobby Lashley has the same odds as Logan Paul at 20-1 to be the winner. Followed by Jey Uso at 25s, Brock Lesnar at 28s, and Kevin Owens at 28. That's an interest. Logan Paul, same odds as Bobby Lashley.
Man, I just remember being captured every time Mick Foley had a promo at this time. Like DX beating up Mick Foley, ultimate underdog here. Firing Mankind, Mick Foley. God, he was just so good. God, I loved him so much. I'm crying. I'm gonna cry now, mate. Like Mick Foley was like for those that come back to watch this, right? And I think I've explained this to you before, right? As a kid growing up with cerebral palsy, I looked at Mankind and I thought I could do anything. And I still look at that character and I still remember what that was like. I 100% went through all the pain in my operations and all the horrible shit stuff I had to go through because I saw Mankind go through. I know it was fake, but like I saw him go through perceived pain, perceived agony, and manage it. And that was I used to watch his matches before I went into a hospital, before I went into an operation, and I still watch him now. And I got to tell him that years later. And I'm still one of my favorite memories in journalism was telling Mick Foley some of that stuff. And I look back at this stuff and I'm like, look at how much wrestling can do for someone, because like these matches and this escapism and that character made me think I could do anything I wanted to when everybody told me I wasn't going to do very much. So like, and even though he kept getting beat and put down by Triple H, he kept coming back. And I loved it. This Cactus Jack change, this promo here, where he becomes Cactus Jack, I will remember this till the day that I die, man. You know what I mean? Him turning into Cactus Jack, taking that mask off. I remember, pretty sure I was watching a taped SmackDown that my nana taped me. My nan used to tape me all my SmackDowns. Or maybe I think I was. It was certainly back, maybe way before this. But like I remember watching all this stuff. That fake Mankind was Midian, by the way, wasn't it? It was Midian. I always remember that too. Yeah. But yeah, Mick Foley, man, he gave me he made me the person I am, like in terms of like being able to think I could do stuff, being able to like deal with pain and immense amounts of pain, etc., etc. Like he was the person that made me think I could do that, and like actively helped me get through stuff. And when you think about like what wrestling does for other people, I'm sure you've got a story where you can say like something in wrestling inspired you. Like that's whenever someone takes the mick out of me, like in wrestling, and whenever I tell them that story and they shut up. And they go, yeah, I get that. Like, all right, you know what I mean? It's funny, isn't it? It's a funny one that I still like Mick Foley, win, lose, or anything. He was so much to so many people, including me, because he didn't look like everybody else. He didn't look cool. He walked kind of funny. I remember I walked kind of funny. He he was everything that a champion wasn't supposed to be, and he became champion. And it was just like, I'm doing it now. Like, it was just the coolest thing, you know? It was the coolest thing. And I've spoken to other people that have felt the same way about his character. And I think as a wider context, as we've talked about on the whole Yes streams, that's why a lot of people resonate with Bray Wyatt. That's why a lot of people resonate with, guys like Darby Allin, the underdogs, man, the people that don't look like everybody else. And particularly with Mick Foley, just because he was just so, Jeff Hardy was different, but Jeff Hardy was very much on brand for the 2000s.
Yeah.
He was very much the goth alternative kid. Mankind was the underdog through and through, wasn't he? Like he was never trendy. He was just tough and kind at the same time.
Got to say, by the way, and sorry, I'll come back to that line as well. My Time, but the Triple H theme tune is absolutely,
that is a banger.
It's a banger.
It's not Break the Walls Down, but it's good.
If you as a wrestling fan have listened to this song and not spat out water in the shower out of a bottle of water, then you're not a wrestling fan for me.
Yeah.
It has to have happened at some point. What did, out of interest, when you told that kind of stuff, that what that meant to you, to Mick Foley, what did he say?
He just said thank you. He said thank you. It means a lot. I really appreciate that. It's he just said, yeah, thank you. That means a lot. It's stories like that that remind me why I do what I do. And that was it was a beautiful moment, man. Because it's not on the interview where I typed it out. It's a Q&A. It's not on there. Like, it's just something that it was a nice moment where years later, and this is much less, there was a band. So years later, I got to do the same thing with a band. Do you remember POD?
Yes.
They did that song Alive. Yeah. So when I went out, I was about 16. It was the first time I'd ever gone out to a club. My friends had assured me I was going to be okay. It was the first time I'd ever went out to a club, a rock bar, and my friends in college were like, yeah, come with us. And, I was kind of scared because I'd never really been out before. I was quite, because I was in hospital a lot till I was 16. I'll be brief. I went out to this club, and it was the first song I ever realized I could dance to. I'd never danced before.
Yeah.
I got on the dance floor and I'd rocked out, had a little headbang to Alive by POD. And it was the first time I ever realized I could dance. It was the first time I'd ever danced to any rock songs. It was the first time I'd been to a club. And later on, it interested a girl enough to take my number, because apparently I have good dance skills. But POD, it was the first song I ever danced to, and I got to tell Sonny from POD that too, and he said something similar. Because that's the reason why we do this stuff, man. So little stuff like that. So digress, but the point is it was a beautiful moment between and our job. We get lovely moments. Whether it's Clash of the Castle and it's 5 minutes with somebody or 3 minutes, you get some really good moments with people, and I've had some wonderful ones. And Mick Foley, getting to interview my absolute favorite wrestler of all time, was an absolute joy. And it was about his comedy tour. It was fundamentally about his comedy tour. He was doing a comedy tour of the UK.
Yeah.
But we got to talk, about wrestling and his inspiration, influence on other people. And it's, wonderful, man. So it makes me really, talking to you on this stream, looking back at probably arguably one of my favorite matches of all time. Well, definitely one of my favorite matches of all time. It makes me realize how lucky we are, I am, and we are to do what we do, and be able to tell stories and be able to talk to people we grew up loving and have the opportunity to do stuff like this, man. It's a pleasure, isn't it? Well, I'm it doesn't matter how many people are watching this. I'm just dead chuffed to have got, to have met you. Do you know what I mean? And to have made a friend and connected over something that we love, and to share stories of you interviewing people that you admire, and you telling the stories you tell on Rush on Rock and beyond that. And I think it's awesome, mate. I love wrestling, and Mick Foley is the reason I got into wrestling. So that's what I'm trying to say. Yeah.
Love that long form as well. Your story, man. That's amazing. And I think one of the things you said there about wrestling is when you meet someone else who's interested, because it's a little bit niche, like you can have a good conversation with them, because I've never met another wrestling fan who has identical favorites or identical favorite matches, pay-per-views, or it starts a discussion. You're like, oh yeah, I really like that, but have you seen this? Or like, oh yeah, I remember that, and you kind of like just go from there, really. And I think wrestling fans are very opinionated, and sometimes that can go a bit too far on social media. But when you meet people in real life and you talk about wrestling, like it's so enjoyable, because
it is.
it's something for everyone. Like, you don't have
Yeah.
to be a fan of WWE, or maybe you pine for these days of Cactus Jack versus Triple H, like we're watching now. But I'm sure even those fans can then be like, oh, actually, like I watched Jesus, that headshot is ridiculous.
Yeah, that headshot. Yeah, man.
Now as well. So we're in, just to kind of recap as we go into what's kind of like, I guess, the main event of the undercard. We are 1 hour, 13 minutes just past into the pay-per-view. Currently watching the street fight for the then WWF Championship between Triple H and Cactus Jack, joined by Dom, who's just told about his love for Cactus Jack, Mick Foley, Mankind, Dude Love, whatever you want to call him. This is going to go out as a recording onto YouTube when I can get it onto YouTube. As when I was setting this up, for some reason, I have to wait a certain amount of time for it to go live. I've never had a problem before, but whatever. We'll get over it. We'll do another one at some point anyway, and it'll go live on there at the same time. But you can rewatch this tomorrow if you're joining us at any point and want to watch the whole thing. But we are currently watching the opening shots and salvos in the street fight, as I said. This is a match I wrote a very detailed feature on, as I absolutely love the rivalry. The promo that we saw before it, so understated. Triple H's face when Mick Foley Mankind changes into Cactus Jack.
Yeah.
Triple H's reaction just sells it more than anything else could have done. Absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, incredible. And I think that Mick Foley doesn't get the credit, and we'll talk about how great Triple H is too. But Mick Foley doesn't get the credit for making Triple H's. I firmly believe Mick Foley was the one that made Triple H's career. You know what I mean? He made him into the main event guy. Do you know what I mean?
And then in turn, you got to remember that enables Triple H to then have massive feuds with the likes of Jericho, with the likes of Kurt Angle, and so on, and kind of make those careers as well. So like there is this kind of like family tree that's spans down from Mick Foley doing this match, and then the Hell in a Cell match at No Way Out as well before WrestleMania.
Yeah, out in the crowd here as well. Look at those like cameras. People with their cameras.
I was thinking about this the other day when people watch now and they kind of lament that the crowd is maybe sometimes a little bit quiet or isn't as lively as back in these days. One of the big problems is probably camera phones and media, because people are very busy kind of putting updates on social media, as we see the wooden pallets being put down the floor, which are going to play a big factor in this match as we go along.
Yes, indeed. What was it like going back and do it? Because I need to go back to that feature, and I will. What was it like deep diving? Like I very rarely do those types of features. Where they look back at something, again this far back. But I love the idea of it.
Yeah.
What was that like for you doing that? And because again, you love your features, don't you? And I really admire your passion for that. What was it like going back into this wonderful rivalry? Well, I'm not going to say it's the greatest rivalry in wrestling history, but it's certainly up there. I mean, I would say this is easily top 5, top 10. Triple H, Mick Foley.
It's for me, the reason why I like wrestling and I like the feature side of it is because I like stories in general. And for me, I go like, right, I want to write about this match, but to really understand this match, you then have to go and like, oh, actually, I need to go back and watch the last however long it started. And then for me, my like kind of starting point is, well, when did these two first start interacting into their story? Why was Triple H so scared of Cactus Jack being a character? So then you've got to go back a little bit further, and then you've got to go, okay, so when did that match happen? And then get a little bit of context from that match, and then be like, cool. And then it starts to piece it together and be like, right, now I can put my kind of words together. And then you have the kind of benefit of them throwing it forward when it's the match that's in the past, because then you can kind of see how that played out and then summarize to say how it finished. But for me, it's always about the story. And that's why I love wrestling. Personally, I know you kind of told your story. It's one of those things of like, back in the Attitude Era, you had a lot of stories. Some of them were bigger than others, and some of the characters were bigger than others, but there was always the kind of stories behind it. And this, I completely agree, was one of the better ones. You hear the kind of the comments that McFoley made, where actually this was supposed to be it, like his last one, and then Vince was like, "Can you do one more for me?" And it was the Hell in the Cell match, and he got talked around into it. But we're currently seeing Cactus Jack going to town on Triple H. The referee's having to check on him because on the suplex that he does, onto the pallets, Triple H's calf is brutally punctured by a kind of loose bit of pallet. So you see his leg from now on is heavily bleeding after being punctured.
And I mean, they still carry on and they do a great job. Going back to what your point is, again, those features, for those that read them and those that spend the time with them, deep diving, it's a beautiful thing, man. Telling those stories as you do, and that dedication to feature writing in an age where, and I'm guilty of it too, as we see Cactus Jack bringing out that barbed wire 2x4. Trademark barbed wire 2x4 in an age where we focus quite heavily on videos and video interviews and the attention economy. We've talked about how people that they want quick videos. The dedication to features and the craft, I really respect and admire that, mate. Do you know what I mean?
Well, hopefully it means as we've been talking, I'll be contributing to Soundsphere and bringing the features across to yourself and doing bits and pieces for you. But it's a pleasure.
Absolutely, mate. We'd love to have you, mate. Love to have you. And I think the effort and the work ethic is and I've read some of your stuff on Russian Rock and stuff, and it looks great. I think the aesthetic is fantastic, and I think that's what people do appreciate it. People do appreciate it, in these companies and stuff, and I think it's a testament to that work ethic. But it's lovely doing this stuff with you as well. Lovely doing live streams, and I'm happy that you are doing stuff like this where you're live streaming stuff, because as you know from Gimme a Hull, that you can takes a while, but you can develop quite a community around you. It's quite nice.
Yeah, especially we get people like Dean. Normally we'd have another Andy would be around, and another and a guy called John, who are contributors and love to kind of interact as well. We get the odd one or two kind of like peeking in, but now I've got the kind of like the memes and the videos and stuff kind of like coming together. Then this is going to be more of a regular thing. We'll have special guests on. I'm hoping Dom will come back at some point as well.
Anytime, mate. Anytime.
But the other exciting stuff is LA is just around the corner, not too far away now. And I believe Dom is very excited for WrestleMania.
Yes, I am. I am taking the lads with me. We've decided to go, because it's sort of once in a lifetime. My other friends have never been before as well, so it was just if I was going to do one that was for me, for myself, and for my friends, where we just go and have fun, then this was going to be it. The rest of them, we'll maybe do for work if we get another chance and stuff like that. But this one is for me, man. This one is for me to go to if work comes up, that's cracking. But I am so excited to go as a fan, man. I've always wanted to go to America. So I've obviously spent time working in America. I've lived there for a period of time, but I've never been to a wrestling show there. I've never been to a WWE show there. I've been to gigs, but I've never been to a wrestling show. This is, for me, the boyhood dream, Andy, effectively. The boyhood dream has come true. And if you happen to be there as well, mate, in whatever capacity, I will be buying you dinner because I can't wait to see you again, man. I'm so excited. So excited.
Well, I'm 100% sure we'll be meeting up over the course
Definitely,
of our.
man.
I'm looking forward to being part of it, and I'm sure we'll do some live streams or something at some point.
Yeah, man.
Just to
say
where
we've already booked it in. We're in our hotel room. There's all four of us sharing a hotel room like punk rock. We're all it's going to be punk rock, but we're going to do some hotel live streams as just for those people coming back to this. We're just seeing Cactus Jack. I remember watching this. Back thinking he's going to do it. He's going to do it. He's hit him with the barbed wire bat. Triple H is bleeding. Cactus Jack is going to win the world championship. I was so excited for Cactus to win this, dude. And there was so many times where it looked like he was gonna, so many times where it looked like he was gonna win this. Come so close, mate.
Triple H is bleeding like a stuck pig, as JR would say. He is taking a lot of battering off of Barbie, the 2x4 wrapped in barbed wire, to the face. And Cactus Jack is just dominating at this point. Like as you say, I think when I watched this, I was like, "Geez, Cactus Jack's got this like on lock. He's definitely going to be winning. How can Triple H possibly win from this position?" But as true heel he was at this time, I don't think I've ever hated someone where I'm just like, "Oh, I'm so like bored of Triple H. I hate that he wins every week." And you would tune in just to see who it was who was going to finally beat him. As he's getting to the announce table.
So close. It was so close, so tight.
Looking for his pile driver.
Cactus Jack going for the pile driver, the trademark pile driver. Triple H reverse it. Oh, right back on the table. Look at the blood.
Slipping on his own blood, which is why he slips backwards and kind of puts himself almost through the table. His face is definitely a crimson mask at this point, Triple H.
Indeed it is. Yeah, indeed it is. Mick Foley selling as well. Brilliantly done. Brilliantly done.
With this match and his return, why Triple H loves Madison Square Garden so much. He just got lots of memories there. Here's a question for you. Triple H started off in WWE or WWF as it was then, in his Hunter Hearst Helmsley gimmick, where he was kind of like society high class guy, very gimmicky for that kind of period, which is he obviously has the pedigree. But he then turned into this version of Triple H. Is there anyone who's on the roster now who kind of has a gimmick that you think could end up changing into a megastar?
Well, I mean, he could be a megastar as he is now, but LA Knight, dude, I think LA Knight's incredible. I think he has. I mean, he's obviously a little older, but I think he'll do in the next 2 years. I think he'll have a meteoric rise. I think he'll be certainly at least a US champion, Intercontinental champion. I think he'll probably have some kind of movie or TV series at some point. I mean, he's been doing it for years too. But LA Knight's amazing. Younger wise, you see, that is a really interesting point, because there's so many people that I see, like Andre Chase from Chase U. I think he could be great. If they give him a harder edge gimmick, he has real star power. There's someone holding Mick Foley's book there. That was quite funny. Someone there. Oh, that hip toss with the knee. Oh, painful.
The hip toss into the steps and a knee straight into one of the points of the steps.
Yeah, man. Yeah. What was I going to say? Yeah. So that is interesting. What about you? Do you think there's anybody? I mean, the only modern person I can think of that did it like that was Dolph Ziggler, because Dolph Ziggler went from being that,
Yeah, I've often
go on.
wondered, and I like him. He's one of the more interesting interviews I've ever done. Is Elias. That when you look at
Right.
Elias and the size of him, and like he's a good looking dude. He's got talent, and he's had his kind of gimmick of. It was probably better on NXT where he was the drifter, and he wasn't like kind of too much like out with the singing and stuff like that. But then he came on, and you look at the bits and pieces where he's done, like the one with Kevin Owens where they're in is it Seattle, and he gets absolutely nuclear heat like you've never heard during one of the promos that he did. He's got
Yeah.
all the kind of things in his locker to be huge,
Oh
but
yeah, I agree.
I would have thought at this point in his career, he should have at least been like an intercontinental champion, to really kind of set him on the way. And I know he's had a couple of injuries here and there, but he's one that I think could go from having a gimmick into being quite a big star, purely because he has all that kind of stuff in his locker. But then you look at maybe Austin Theory, he's got the wind behind him, and seeing him on NXT when he was part of he was very goofy and in the with Johnny Gargano and in that kind of side of things in the way. Like he's one who's taking a gimmick and doing his selfies, and now he's kind of more straight laced and is looking great for it as well.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's a couple of NXT. He's lucky he's not really had a gimmick. Like I see Carmelo Hayes being like huge.
Carmelo's gonna be huge. Yeah.
But
You got some.
he's very cool, to be fair.
Yeah, he is very cool. Yeah, I mean, you're going back to Elias. Elias is a great shout, mate. Why hasn't Elias been bigger? And I bet he was lovely as well. I bet he can talk. I bet he can do press. I've never spoken to him, but I bet he knows how to switch it on.
So he stays full gimmick. This was back when he was smashing like guitars every week over someone different. I remember I can't remember who it was. Someone on the call joined later on, and he asked a question, which was, if you could do it to anyone, who would you most want to smash a guitar over their head? And he just said, right now, because of that stupid question, you. So he was like fully invested in his gimmick, and he answered a lot of questions like that. And I was sat in a car near the beach because it was one of those ones where you used to just join by a phone call before they used Zoom too much, and you just have to wait for your turn, and then you'd get similar. Now you get one or two questions. But he was great. It's always difficult to interview someone who's in full character mode.
Yes. Yeah, we did it.
Yeah.
The only one I've got as a relatable is Rosemary from Impact Wrestling.
Oh, okay, that'd be
Rosemary
scary.
in full gimmick. Yeah. But Elias in full gimmick in that situation would have been really funny. Yeah, really funny, I imagine.
Yeah.
Again, to watch other people, you know, watch him interact with other people as well. Yeah.
So we're seeing at the moment, this it's we're kind of watching it because it's such a good match. But the at the moment, Cactus Jack's been handcuffed, so his hands are behind his back.
Oh yeah. I felt for this man,
So he's just done a drop toe hold while Triple H is coming at him with some steel steps. Drop toe hold, which means Triple H's face bounces off the steps. So he's fighting the rest of the match as it looks with arms behind his back.
With arms behind his back, this was so well done. But you felt for him, right? You felt for him.
Yeah. But you still see how crazy he is by biting Triple H.
Yeah. This is crazy, man. Oh, the clothesline, heartbreaking.
One of the moves that was really random that Triple H used to have, which always looked like super I think if people sold it, it looked amazing. Was that high running knee that he does when it like kind of glances off their knee as he runs past? Just looks really cool.
There's again, you're just like, come on, Mick, come on, you know.
Or just breaks the top of the chair, just flies off with a couple of back shots. Love the crowd. Like the New York crowds always seem to be like a little bit rowdy. They always have like a good reputation for being a little bit unpredictable. But Madison Square Garden, man, it must be everyone's dream to main event here.
And he's walking out. He's Mick Foley's trying to create some space. Goes straight into that chair.
So the set is really simple for this. I kind of touched on it earlier. They have that like kind of mid arena entrance where it's literally just normally like a pair of doors. It's kind of like corrugated steel doors with the logo on it that swing open for when people come out, with a taxi, a New York cab, like hanging down, like just on top of it, graffiti brick walls, and as I say, that swinging just knocks out Triple H.
The Rock comes out, maybe Triple H, Jack just sitting there, just waiting, just like he's just telling him to bring it. Like again, he's a hardcore, that sort of toughness, man.
There's a random policeman just enters and just
taking the handcuffs off.
Earl Hebner is the referee as well. I don't know if you ever had any interactions with the security guys that work for WWE.
No.
It's not until you kind of think like, these guys don't need security guards. Then you think, actually, if they are the security guards for these guys, like how tough must they be? Nowadays they are massive, and you can normally see them like around the ring, like on the kind of first row somewhere, or when they're doing the kind of security stuff at press. You see how big they actually are.
I've had a brief conversation like at Clash. I was like, "Hey, Matt," you know what I mean? It was like a "Hey, how you doing?" kind of thing. You know, the chat. They seem like they're really intimidating, but they seem really nice people. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah,
yeah.
If you're stupid enough to mess with them, then you kind of like you need to know it's not going to end well for you.
No. There's Cactus holding up Triple H there. Again, he's back and his momentum is there. He's taking the handcuffs are off now.
I mean, see that we were just talking about there. Do you see the guy in the background? He's got the like backwards like leather biker hat, and a guy was getting a bit too like rowdy on the front row, and he literally just told him to back off. He went, "Yep, sorry." Yeah. Here we go. This is the kind of like bit where the rest of the match has been great, but this is where the stakes just seem to get like raised a little bit more when
of course, and the attacks come,
back from attacks. When you were younger and you watched this, were you like acutely aware of what wrestling is, but then you kind of think, how can you possibly do this without getting very badly hurt?
Yeah. When I was a kid, I believed it, man. I believed everything. You know, I believed I believe the hype in wrestling. You know, but yeah. When I got older and stuff, it was the performance, man. I knew that it was. You knew that it was. But how do you do that? How do you do that without? How do you go take a backdrop on? How do you take a backdrop on thumbtacks without it hurting? You know what I mean? Does that make sense? Like you knew it was acting and performing, but you knew it was acting and performing, but it wasn't. How can you do that and not feel pain? You know, how can you do that and not feel? You know, he kicks out as well. He kicks out the story they're telling, man. The story they're telling. You know, I love this, mate. I love it. The storytelling is incredible. And there, Triple H getting another pedigree and a face into the tax man. And he rolls him into the cover. 1, 2. Look at the tax sticking out of Mick Foley, dude.
Just like on his forehead and his like eyebrow.
That's insane. That's insane.
So you can see, like, I don't know if it's now because it might be remastered. They'll have me picking out 1 or 2 thumbtacks out of his hand from doing the count around there.
Yeah.
Some of the tacks are gimmicked where the ends have been taken off, but the vast majority are on there still. And I don't know if that's because it's like a HD like remaster sort of thing now, so you can see it a little bit better. But my God, like even like some of them, I think I remember it was Dean Ambrose. I think when he was Dean Ambrose was asked like, how do you take a bump? Or I know Jericho had a match with Dean Ambrose, and he said like, how would you feel about using thumbtacks? He said not great, and he said like, oh, how do you do it? And he went, you don't. You just have to accept it's going to hurt. And then pick them out.
Yeah. You just take it. You just take the tax.
Yeah. Deal with the pain later. Face first,
but
man.
What a match. Face first, dude. What a match. What a match.
One on the neck. Triple H has been stretched out. Knee pads full of thumbtacks. And you might have seen, I have posted the link to the feature that I wrote. I think it was last year.
So I've got it bookmarked. Yeah.
That was like a deep dive into this match and the kind of surrounding as to why it stands the test of time. As Cactus Jack grabs Triple H with a stretcher and brings him back out.
Yeah.
Throws him back in the ring.
Cactus Jack just looking, looking badass, looking hardcore. It's beyond wins and losses for Cactus at this point.
One more headshot with the barbed wire. It's definitely looking young. Young. Stephanie was such a key part of why you disliked Triple H as much as you did, because she's the kind of spoiled princess like character very well.
That was nice little ending for that. I forgot that he had that sort of triumphant end. Actually, it's not really talked about. But actually, I think Cactus Jack. Go on. Sorry.
That was supposed to be it, wasn't it, for him? Vince said, "Give us this one, and then we'll let you retire and enjoy life while you're still while you pretty much in one piece. Obviously, slight bit of ear missing and tooth gone and stuff like that. But it wasn't until a couple of weeks afterwards we said, actually, we need you, pal. One more." And that thing turned into 2 more, because was it this WrestleMania where he ended up doing? Was it the Fatal 4-Way with a McMahon in each corner?
Yeah, that was great. Yeah, Mick Foley, Big Show. Who else was in that? The Rock, maybe.
The Rock, yeah. Triple H, The Rock, Big Show, and
Mick Foley.
As we are going into the final match, which is the Royal Rumble match.
Royal Rumble, yeah.
Having a look back into Times Square, which, if you haven't been, is exactly how you'd imagine it, because you see it in so many pictures.
Yeah.
It just feels surreal when you stand in Times Square for the first time after seeing it on TV.
Man. Yeah, lovely, just a wicked place to go. Yeah. There's Linda McMahon.
Yep. Recipient of one of the biggest pops of all time for just standing up.
Oh yes. Again, Linda was quite the personality as well. I don't think she ever sort of, she was never like an on-screen character as much as the others, but she
Yeah.
was quite the personality, wasn't she? You know.
Yeah, she always seemed to have like a bit of a sort of aura around her, even though she was like just there. She cut a bit of a promo, but it was very like almost robotic in its delivery. But like I don't know, I always bought it as a yeah, fair enough. Like she's an authority figure and like a peer, I guess, like for Vince McMahon, and tried to keep him in check, but often failed in doing so. As we see the tax being scraped off the
Oh
surface.
yeah, again, it's sort of iconic. Again, it's such an iconic match, dude. You know what I mean? Such an
Yeah.
iconic match. Like that match goes down for so many people. You know, for so many people, the history.
And getting JR just explaining the Royal Rumble, which is at least well, it's over a decade old at this point. So they're just obviously recapping just in case. Is Howard Finkel introduced the Royal Rumble and the
Class.
it was mental. Who did you prefer out of Howard Finkel and Tony Chimmel?
Howard Finkel, man, synonymous. Just his voice, the vocal man. Just a vocal you associate. You know what I mean?
Yeah. When he did his when someone new would win a championship, just his like new.
No, yeah.
Everyone speaks very highly of Howard Finkel when you.
Oh yeah.
Trying to remember who starts this. I feel like is it someone from Too Cool?
Oh yeah, maybe. This is a little test, a little quiz. Is it Jerry Lawler's son?
Grandmaster Sexay.
Grandmaster Sexay, Jerry's kid, yeah. Grandmaster Sexay.
I'm trying to remember. Like I know there's this spot with Too Cool, and I know there's a big thing about like Viscera in this one, and obviously the Rock and Big Show is like a big part of this build up. As they're just looking back on 1995 when Pamela Anderson celebrated with Shawn Michaels, back when wrestling was in its like full MTV crossover period between like the late 80s and
D'Lo Brown,
the man with the rubber neck.
Yeah, man, I got to speak to D'Lo last year. He's doing really well. He's great.
Yeah.
Love him.
Is he still with Impact?
Yeah, still with Impact. Yeah.
I've tried doing the like D'Lo Brown like neck movement so many times, and like he just
I
don't know how he does it.
I just crack my neck. I'm like, ow.
Jeez.
That thing as well. Yeah, there you go. Did we get it right?
Yeah, we got one.
Yeah, there you go.
So even though here it's very obvious now that I know that they're father and son, back then I didn't know.
Yeah, no, I didn't either. I didn't. Yeah, even though it was rumored as it was then, I didn't know. I didn't believe it was actually his son.
But then it's just like having a close up of him.
Of course it is. Yeah, of course it is. But
even like I think even if I went back and listened to some of the commentary that they had at the time of when he's like commentating his matches, he probably tries to put him over loads, and I never really like understood why he would do that. But now I'm like, oh yeah, of course, obviously.
Nice drop kick there by Grandmaster Sexay.
I saw Scotty Too Hotty at North Wrestling.
All right.
A match against Joe Henry, and
cool.
Joe Henry put one of possibly the funniest intro videos.
Oh, I've seen that. Yeah, I've seen it on YouTube. Yeah, I think because it did really well for him, didn't it? That one. Yeah, the Grandmaster, the Scottish White one. Yeah, it's great. He's another. Joe's a lovely guy. I've spoken to him a couple of times. He's great.
I think he's probably up there with one of the wrestlers I've seen the most because he's very linked to the Northeast because he
Of course
was a big part of WCPW and Defiant and now with North Progress. I think he's been in a couple of times as well.
yeah, man.
Yeah,
Done everything. The
really
local hero, Joe Hendry.
Yeah. Back when he used to do his he left for a little while, didn't he? To go do the Olympics or the Commonwealth Games or something as well.
He did. Yeah, he's really built now. His physique is incredible. He's and he is I believe currently he is still the digital media champion in Impact. He just beat Moose.
Nice.
He's on a run. He's on a run in Impact. Is Joe Hendry? I loved the Headbangers, as you can imagine, growing up. They came back 2 years ago. It was great for two matches. They had a match with the Usos. What kind?
So Kai and Ty run in a few times, don't they? In this match, they're not actually involved, but they just Funaki and Tasha Michinoku get involved.
Yeah, man, Taka Michinoku again, such a legend. And you look back at his WWE run. He actually, I mean, he had a job for a long time in WWE, but yeah, you think of the way he was treated here and how he's treated in Japan, so different, you know.
Yeah,
Taka Michinoku, a legend.
These two, like Taka, will be known for this match where his face basically splats on the floor after being thrown out. But Funaki's probably better known for WWE fans of doing his Indeed, like kind of
Indeed. The laughter, the laughter.
But yeah, Funaki was Funaki was quite big in New Japan.
Funaki, I don't know if Funaki was big in Japan. You know, he commentated for a while, didn't he? After, but I know Taka Michinoku was huge. I didn't know if Funaki was big.
What's your preference when it comes to a Rumble? Do you like to see like the ring fill up with a lot of people, or does it get a bit too messy for you?
No, it gets a bit too messy. I like a nice even spread. Yeah, you?
Yeah, I think it's difficult when there's too much going on. Like, and it's probably case in point when you see like the battle royales where they start with 20, 30 people in. The cameras don't seem to know who to focus on.
Yeah,
I like it when there's like 3 or 4, and then when it gets a bit more than that, it starts to get a bit convoluted and a bit messy. But
yeah,
and you also always feel like when it fills up, they're waiting for like a big powerhouse to come in and clear a load of them out.
Yeah, do that. Yeah, they're waiting for the Braun Strowman or the Giant, the Big Show to come out. Yeah.
So we've seen a very young Christian as entered at number 4. No elimination so far.
No. Good showing from Mosh here, who would later be the recipient of, I don't think it's a stretch to say, the worst gimmick in wrestling history, beaver cleavage, if you remember that. And if you don't remember it, don't look at it. Don't look it up. Don't Google it. Don't even try.
Especially not on a work computer.
Especially not on a work computer. But yes, Mosh became Beaver Cleavage and then quickly reverted back to, well, he was actually Chaz for a bit, and then he reverted back to Mosh. Rikishi.
Who I'm trying to work out time-wise is already father to Jimmy and Jay and Solo by this point.
Yeah, maybe. Yeah.
They might have been watching this.
They may be. Yeah, they may have been. There's Christian taking a belly to belly.
That's a weird thought, by the way. Just, Rikishi just chucking Mosh, and then Christian over the top rope.
Yeah, man.
Swinging
D'Lo Brown stepping to Rikishi. Nice neck breaker. And there's the leg drop. Rikishi right back up.
No selling. So for anyone joining us, we're in the main event on 1 hour 52 exactly has just gone by of the Royal Rumble 2000. As we've been saying throughout the night, Dom here is special guest for the night, who seems thoroughly engrossed now because we're at the tail end of the pay-per-view. As we see Rikishi staring down Grandmaster Sexay, who's trying to persuade him to have
He's
a bit
not going to do it. He's not going to dance. Rikishi's not going to dance.
And the big part of the Royal Rumble where we get the kind of variable time frames of people entering so they can get Scotty 2 Hotty into the ring.
Yeah, that was a nice, good moment, that. Look at the command they had on the crowd. What an underrated gimmick Too Cool was.
They were so over, man. Like,
it was
ridiculously over. As Rikishi gets the glasses on. The whole crowd is clapping right now.
Big quiche.
We see a dance break during the Royal Rumble, which I don't think has been seen before and never probably will be seen again.
No. There's the worm. Is the worm coming?
There we go.
Yes. There's the worm.
Rikishi getting big chance before both members are Too Cool.
Rikishi taking out Too Cool.
How much hairspray do you reckon Scotty 2 Hotty had to use to keep his hair up right there?
No idea.
The lights dip. Even though he's eliminated both of them, they're both cool. They understand.
Yeah.
Back to Rikishi dancing on his own.
That he actually had some proper moves, didn't he? Let's just give it up for Rikishi. It's some proper good dance moves.
Oh, I don't need to see that side though.
I mean, a lot of people loved it, you know. A lot of people loved it back in the day. I never wanted to take a stink face, though. Let's put it that way.
No.
Some people I knew really wanted to take a stink face. I knew some people that used to really fancy Rikishi.
More power to those people. Fair enough.
Steve Blackman, one of the forefathers of the hardcore division in WWE. I believe he works in. I think he's like still in some badass profession now. I think he does something really badass at the moment.
Steve Blackman was always in like peak physical condition.
He was. He made it. And to his credit, even though he wasn't massively charismatic, he got over a lot of weird gimmicks. Do you remember Head Cheese?
Yeah, with Al Snow.
With Al Snow. That was more Steve Blackman than it was Al Snow.
So Steve Blackman is a martial arts instructor and bail bondsman.
I knew it was hard. I knew it was, yeah.
Fair enough. One of the best memories of Steve Blackman, I would say, is his match with Shane McMahon, where he chases him up the Titantron and uses a kendo stick to hit him down before elbow dropping him. Rikishi was like, it's a difficult one because he was so over with Too Cool, and then they kind of laid on that Stone Cold's hit and run angle, and he threatened to kind of be in like the main event, but then it just never seemed to like click.
Yeah, he could have been. I mean, I remember his splash in. He did a splash off a cell, didn't he? Hell in a Cell or something.
Off the cage.
Off the cage.
he got hit. He got chokeslammed by Undertaker off the top of the Hell in a Cell, but he did a splash off the top of the cage.
Yeah, yeah. So he had like loads of spots, loads of big spots. You know what I mean? He was huge. Like Rikishi was literally, he was a big name. You know.
Yeah.
But yeah, big leg drop from Viscera. Yeah, just didn't click for him in the main event really.
I think that one of the things that you got to say though is people will forever remember Rikishi. So whether he ever won the belt or was sustained at the main event doesn't really matter too much, because probably similar to like Scotty 2 Hotty, like there's a whole generation or two of fans that will forever know you. So you kind of can't ask for much more than that. Not everyone could be a champion, but
no, you're right.
We're seeing Viscera. I always was astounded watching this that he wrestles in that kind of like the jacket thing.
Yeah, me too. And then what was it? Big when he had the sex gimmick and he Visagra was the Visagra, what was it? And he still kept the goth eyes as well. That was weird. He had these like weird goth eyes, the contact lenses, but he was wearing like pajamas.
He was part of the Ministry of Darkness at one point, wasn't he?
Yeah. I loved that. I loved Midian. That gave so many people a main event angle. Viscera, Midian, Gangrel for a bit. You know what I mean? They were in this big faction. Big Boss Man, of course. Class legend.
It's quite sad though that like you look back at some of the entrants that we've had. There's a Big Boss Man no longer with us. Viscera no longer with us.
No.
Brian Christopher's not.
Brian Christopher.
Yeah, it starts making you feel a bit old when like a lot of these people have passed away that we've seen or retired.
Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Although it is amazing that people like Christian are still able to go.
Still going, yeah. Christian's still able to go. Obviously, certainly in a better position than some of those names we mentioned earlier. I would say, certainly Jeff Hardy. I do wish Jeff, to have another match, but fundamentally, I wish him to wish him well in his personal, life and everything like that. But Jericho, Christian, yeah. The Rock can probably still go. Which we may or may not see coming up.
We're seeing Big Boss Man is actually being the first one clever enough not to enter the ring and play a bit of cat and mouse with Rikishi and wait for someone else as backup. Was it Bull Buchanan he had a tag team with for a little while?
Yes, Bull Buchanan before Bull Buchanan joined Right to Censor. Yeah, there's Test, another person that's no longer with us.
Yeah.
Imagine what Test could have done. You look at Test,
Yeah.
What a talent! What a talent! Test now back body dropping the Boss Man outside. The conditioning of Test.
Loud screams from the air.
Yeah, man. Test had it all, mate. Test had it all. Can't remember what happened to him actually. I don't know, but I know he was dating Stephanie for a bit.
Yeah, because they had the actual angle where Triple H kind of. I'm sure there was a bit where he gets like locked in a cage or something, like a cage thing.
Oh, he did get to retire. He did retire in 2009.
Had a good run in TNA with Albert.
Yeah. Well, yeah, TNA, the actual tag team, but he also was in TNA for a bit.
Oh, okay.
He was part of Christian's coat. He was part of Sting. Got to team with Sting and Abyss against Christian, Tomko, and AJ Styles. I'd forgotten AJ Styles was in a stable with Christian.
It's a bit. Okay,
Bulldog, man.
It's becoming a little bit morbid when the last three entrants into
Yeah.
this aren't with us anymore.
Bulldog wearing his hardcore attire. He changed his gimmick up, was much more hardcore this time.
Yeah. No tassels to be seen here. No Union Jacks.
No.
Did he? Was he just a Bulldog at this point, or was he always British Bulldog?
No, he was. I think he was. I think he was always. I don't. Oh, my headphones just fallen out. I don't. I think he was always British Bulldog. I think he was always British Bulldog, but he did he have a time where he was just the Bulldog? I'm trying to think. Yeah, I'm gonna try and find that out. Just refreshing my. There you go. What time are you on, mate? Sorry, I just put my headphones fell out and it paused my time.
2:02 and 45.
Okay, cool. Thanks, dude.
As we're in the second hour, but this is before the era when we went to super long pay-per-views.
Yes,
it was normally sub 3 hours. I believe this was actually on Channel 4 when it was on in the UK for the first time, which is a story in itself, and one that I've been trying to make inroads into a little bit of research into WWE's relationship with Channel 4, because I understand it was quite a tumultuous relationship.
Yeah. Here comes Gangrel.
And it's probably a good thing to understand. There's Gangrel does his kind of blood spitting.
Yeah.
From what I understand, Channel 4 were quite annoyed at the content that WWE used to put out, saying it was a little bit too risky for them, which is quite hilarious when you think about what sort of stuff Channel 4 was putting out.
Oh, Gangrel and Bossman taking out Kai and Tai.
And I think that's the last we see of them. I think it was planned to come out at least one maybe 2 or 3 more times, but he takes quite the bump that we see on a replay that I think Jerry Lawler wets himself laughing at for the rest of it. Gangrel was a cool character.
I loved Gangrel. Yeah, most recently he was in AEW for a night. He joined AEW for a night to join the feud between the Bucks and the Hardys. When the Bucks impersonated the Hardys, and he also has a very cool podcast actually. Yeah, he has a podcast of his own, Fanging and Banging with Gangrel.
I think did I read that when Edge did a couple of entrances, speaking of, Edge did interviews about when he had the Brood entrance in WWE, and it apparently delayed Gangrel being in TNA because they didn't want to kind of like step on what was happening at the time.
Oh, that was it. Yeah. They delayed it, and Gangrel was supposed to be in AEW. It was AEW, and they were supposed to. He actually spoke. Gangrel and Edge spoke about it as well. Gangrel said he apologized.
He said he was sorry that he kind of cost him any kind of appearance or whatever.
It's all right. Gangrel and Edge, of course, with the history. Gangrel now attacking Edge.
Yeah, it's cool to see Edge like in this kind of like era where he's very much a tag team wrestler, but then to know that he's going to go on to be such a star in his own right and probably one of the more respected people in the industry.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, of course. It is. And Edge, of course, will be in this year's Rumble too, mate.
Yeah. So there's a point I was meaning to say about Rhea, and one that I think people may be overlooking. The one wrinkle before her winning could be her rivalry that was started with Beth Phoenix.
Ooh.
So
Oh yes, good call. Yeah, because they're supposed. I think they've been announced for the Rumble, or certainly they've hinted at being there. So that's really good. That's a really good point you make. Yeah.
Because I think as well, when I don't know if you asked or heard some of the answers, there's Bob
Backlund, yeah.
Massive pop, by the way.
Yeah. I remember him beating Bret Hart in the 90s. And that was heartbreaking when Bob Backlund beat Bret Hart in the 90s with the crossface chicken wing and Owen threw in the towel. Yeah. So you were saying?
Rhea at the interview junket at Clash of the Castle, she mentioned that one of the big things that she'd like to do is have a match with Beth Phoenix, and hinted very heavily that she'd like it to happen on the biggest stage possibly could.
Yeah, man. I mean, you're absolutely right. And you know what? I'm still gonna say it because I can't. I've picked now. I've picked my. We do a form and we all do predictions on Give Me a Hull Yeah, and it decides who wins the belt because we have a Give Me a Hull Yeah belt. So my predictions are in now, so I can't change them. So I've got to keep Rhea. But yeah, I think that's a huge wrinkle that I hadn't thought about. Yeah. Great point.
Well, at least it makes it a little bit interesting. Like maybe it's not as clear cut as we were discussing before, but it'll keep people on their toes should they have to.
Man.
It still doesn't change the fact that there's not many alternatives.
No, I mean, no, I can't think of. I mean, the only other interesting one would be Kana, as in Asuka reworked, Asuka with her old gimmick.
Yeah. I've realised I've had this little on hold. This slide.
The Undisputed Intercontinental Champion Chris Jericho coming in. Going for an opportunity.
Chris Jericho being a legend killer.
Taking out Bob.
Unless I'm completely misremembering, Undertaker's not in this Rumble match, is he?
No, I don't think so.
It's strange that he's on the poster.
I'm trying to think.
Prominent position for a big boss man to be on there as well.
It is, yeah, it is, yeah, really is.
Bob Backlund just going through the crowd at Madison Garden.
There he is. Again, Bob Backlund's such a legend, you know.
Who is it out of the primetime players he was manager of for a little while?
Yeah.
Darren Young.
Darren Young. Yeah.
That was a weird gimmick that they had going on there for a little while.
Yes, it was. I mean, it was a great way to platform Darren Young. Darren Young was a great talent. He's still doing very well in New Japan.
Okay. Crash Holly again.
Loved Crash again. Yeah, Crash. Yeah, another one.
Too soon, but absolutely. When you think of the hardcore title, 20 like anything like that, Crash Holly in the kids' playground and the stuff that they used to do in the Attitude Era was fantastic.
Oh man, yeah. Again, Crash Holly, legendary. Molly Holly. All again, weird to think in it, dude. That Crash Holly and Hardcore Holly launch. Crash Holly, I would say, reinvented Hardcore Holly. I think did Hardcore come first?
Yes,
probably yes. Yeah. The Hardcore came first, then Crash Holly, then Molly Holly. The Holly gimmick, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's helped people out for many years.
Yeah, Molly Holly was always really cool because I always thought like she was like when she did the superhero gimmick with Hurricane Helms.
Yes. Yeah.
Like I loved Molly Holly then.
Mighty Molly, wasn't it? Yeah.
Yeah. She's now involved, isn't she? Like they eventually kind of mended the fences, and she's been back a couple of times. But I think she's involved in NXT.
Yeah, I think she produces some stuff now. Yeah, I heard she was in a backstage role for sure. Is China?
China. One of the only handful of female wrestlers to be in a male Royal
Yeah,
Rumble.
I
Doesn't
believe it
look
was.
at all.
Yeah, I believe it was Nia Jax as well. Nia Jax was in one.
Beth Phoenix.
Phoenix, yeah.
Yeah, Nia Jax was the one where she got RKO'd and then 619'd as well.
Yes, yeah. China going to try and take out Jericho, but China over the top.
So double duty for Jericho and China.
Indeed, yeah. What's China going to do? Is she going to take out Jericho? Yes, she does. Jericho's gone.
Oh.
And then Boss Man takes out China. China and Jericho gone. Are they still going to ignite this rivalry?
No, this is the commentary from King every time there's a Royal Rumble that he would change his favorite of who's going to win with each who would come in. This is an interesting Rumble because I think nowadays I don't know if you agree. For me, when I look at like the kind of rosters back in the Attitude Era, you had like top tier main eventers, and then everyone else.
Yes, no, I agree.
Nowadays, it seems to have you kind of like very top stars like your Roman Reigns, arguably like Sami Zayn, Seth Rollins would be up there, possibly Cody Rhodes. But then you have that kind of like, I would say there's a more defined middle.
Yes. Yeah, there's tiers. There's like more tiers to it, isn't there? You know,
Mean Street Posse getting involved in the Rumble.
Man, this has been an absolute joy to watch. I apologize if I've been transfixed a few times.
No, that's fine.
Really enjoyed watching it. Edge and Test teaming up now. Gangrel now taking out Crash Holly. How have you found it going back and watching it?
Yeah, I know I keep saying it, but it's so bittersweet that there's 6 guys in the ring and 4 of them aren't with us anymore, and it's like it's such a shame.
Yes,
these are guys who grew up kind of watching and enjoying like the kind of stuff that they put on, and will forever have like great memories. But like looking back, it's just like the crowd is very different. Like feel more engaged, and like at the beginning you see all the signs going on, but like everyone seems really dialed in. Which is really cool to see. But I think that's the other thing about like Mania. Like when you're there, I think you'll appreciate it as well. Is that it's everyone seems tapped in. Maybe it's because you're spending a little bit of money, and the international crowd don't get to see it as often, sort of thing. But I love it when a crowd is like really, really into it.
Yeah, man. Yeah, it's definitely a special thing. I'm excited to see you there. I'm excited to experience it. But I'm gonna be so buzzed. It's again once in a lifetime for me and for my mates as well, for the lads. I'm just like, if I'm gonna do it, then we're gonna, you know what I mean. And the fact you're gonna be there, and the fact like a few other people I know are gonna be there, it's just like it's gonna be great, man. I'm just buzzed, and you sold it to me. You're actually one of the reasons I actually decided to take the chance and just do it, without kind of thinking about it too much. Because normally I'd wait for press, or I'd try and do that. And obviously that's it's a dangerous game to play, sometimes. So, and I've ended up missing some opportunity, even for gigs, same thing. I've not booked shows. I've it wasn't until this year I decided to stop saying I don't pay for shows. I had that for about 10 years. I was like, no, I'm gonna go, and I got to go to lots and lots of shows working, but I was like, there's a lot of them I miss out on, a lot of the bigger shows, a lot of the sort of bands I grew up on, You know, I mean, I've got to work a lot of those too, but there's other shows like Radiohead. I missed the chance to go see Radiohead because I was waiting on a press ticket, you know, stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I made the opportunity, I made the choice as Al Snow comes in, or Leaf Casty as he probably is right now. I made the choice with Mania, but talking to you because I was like, oh shit, yeah, pardon my language. I don't know if I can swear on this, but like, hopefully I won't get you banned off YouTube. But I was like, you know what? Yeah, you're going. If press comes, but you can go for your own enjoyment. And I had this kind of like weird thing, like I kind of was like, no, you've got to go to work or you don't go at all. And actually, that's a really negative way to look at things because you miss out on a lot of stuff, And so, like, you were kind of the inspiration, weirdly enough, for me actually going, you know what, I'm going to go do something for my enjoyment. So I appreciate that.
No, that's cool. And if anyone from WWE is listening, like Joel, if you're watching this at any point, then send me commission to the usual place, please. That's fine.
Yeah, there you go. Absolutely.
No, it'd be an awesome. It's you'll have an absolute blast. Doing it with friends or people that you know is even better. I'm traveling and staying on my own this year for the first time, so it'll be a different experience. But it makes me more excited that you're coming because I actually will know.
Oh man. Oh yeah, dude. Yeah, you will Anthony. All the people. Well, I think the people you've met on stream. Anthony will be there. Dan will be there. Sam will be there, and Jack, who's on moderator. So we'll all be there, mate. Just come and stay. I mean, like I said, it's going to be a bit punk rock. We're all staying together. But
if you're going to be punk rock anywhere, be LA, right?
Well, yeah, absolutely. But if you want, is Val Venus, the big Valbolski, sorry. But yeah, if you want talking about sexy hotel room times, yeah, if you want to come and join, as I remember Val Venus for the vasectomy storyline. Do you remember when this is the ADHD talking. I've completely gone off topic, but what
Val Venus snippet was it Snippy?
Yeah. What? Right. Okay, that's not going to be happening in the hotel room at WrestleMania. But Val Venus was accused by Ken Shamrock's sister of getting her pregnant. I think that was the storyline. And they were in a hotel bed or something. That might have been Marlena and Goldust. That might have been what I'm thinking about. There was lots of hotel rooms with Val Venus. Yeah, it was Goldust and obviously his wife Marlena, Terry Reynolds. And Val Venus had her in bed or something. And so now I always associate Val Venus with hotel rooms, but also vasectomies, because another storyline he had was with Ken Shamrock's sister, where he got her pregnant. That was it. And he was like, it can't be a thing because I've had a vasectomy. And but anyway, sorry. What I meant to say is come to our hotel room and hang out with us. You probably don't want to anymore, but you know what I mean?
Well, as long as no choppy.
No choppy, snippy. Yeah. Here's Albert coming out here, Prince Albert.
Oh, there's Edge gone. I think we're approaching halfway. If we're not already at halfway, we're around about halfway through the 30-man Royal Rumble match.
Yeah, it's 2020. I think we've got.
It's cool before, by the way. See, Val Venus and Edge tag teaming on someone because Edge was married or with Val Venus' sister in real life.
Oh, really? I didn't know that.
Yep. I guess it's kind of natural when you know so many guys that have, and they'll have their family members or friends around backstage that you end up meeting someone.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah.
A lot of people, a lot of relationships have gone on in the WWE, and I've just seen a man in the background fall down the stairs, which I've never seen before.
Oh no, I missed that. Oh, that sucks.
Absolutely stacked it down the stairs. He's still sat.
Oh no. Oh, I think I see him in the set. Yeah, I was like scanning the stairs. I think I saw him just sat down.
Yeah. Okay. He stood up again and like he's waving around. So.
Oh mate, bless him.
I also like the Royal Rumble, that thing where like everyone kind of then starts craning to see who's coming out.
Yeah. Is that Carly?
So quite a few of the roster pulled double duty then.
Indeed, yeah,
There's a lot of what we would probably say now, if this was the Rumble that we saw this year, would be fairly disappointing because it's like there isn't any big hitters that have come in to the ring anymore.
No, but you got me excited earlier. Before I went on, before I went into like full on like nostalgia mode and just I've properly fully zoned into this pay per view, man. Watching that Cactus Jack Triple H match was amazing, but talking about the Royal Rumble itself, it's just been good. Again, I remember this, I remember the nostalgia, but these days and I think it is down to that, that sort of attention. This time that we live in, we want big stars, we want surprises, we want excitement. But you won't get me any more excited than if Bray Wyatt wins tomorrow, and if Jay White shows up. God, if Jay White shows up, man, to me that's bigger than AJ Styles showing up. To me, I'm aware what a blasphemous statement that is. To me, that's bigger than AJ Styles showing up because Jay White, to me, he's just the best wrestler in the world. But yeah, this going back to your question, I am sorry for digressing a bunch of times on this, particularly with the Val Venus vasectomy thing. I did not mean to imply, as The Rock comes out, I did not mean to imply that we will be doing vasectomies in a hotel room in Los Angeles. What I meant to say was you're invited to our hotel room to hang out with us and like eat food or whatever. As the Rock punches Boss Man out. Val Venus taking some kicks. Leave Cassidy now. Al Snow.
So the Rock's really the first kind of big name in this Rumble so far. Which, to be honest, he is the biggest that is in this match at any point. But I think this is when he's kind of really establishing himself as like the guy for WWE, WWF as it was then. And he just has to kind of like carry the kind of star power aspect of it. And he does it very well, to be fair to him. Very well.
Oh, he does, yeah. He's a natural star, even at this time, yeah. Natural star.
So
The Rock.
Mentioned one of your favourites in Bray Wyatt, and he's obviously got a match this weekend that we don't really know much about in terms of how they're going to present, which in the past hasn't necessarily led to, critical acclaim. Do you think he has to win this one, or is this one that he can take?
A lot of people are theorizing that LA Knight is going to win, which will then build anticipation for an Uncle Howdy match at WrestleMania. But I think he has to win. Yeah, this is his first match back. I can see why they would book that. I can see why, as we see Billy Gunn come out in his delightful thong attire. I can see why they'd theorize LA Knight to win. He's a rising star. A win against Bray would catapult him to a main event, but it's Bray's first match back, dude. You know what I mean? You could have Uncle Howdy cost him.
Yeah.
But, you could. But I think a lot of people would be quite unhappy about it. What do you think, Andy?
I think the important thing, either way, it doesn't, to a certain degree, I don't think it matters who wins because they do have that kind of get out of jail free card with the Uncle Howdy stuff, with Alexa Bliss. It's probably going to rear its head at some point. And LA Knight could go over and then you build a star in LA Knight because I think I've been listening very carefully because it was the same with NXT is when he was doing his like, or like, let me, like those wrestlers who have like a catchphrase, it doesn't happen as much anymore. So you start listening to, are the crowd doing it back to him or are they kind of saying it at the same time? Like Paul Heyman gets his like, my name is Paul Heyman and people say it at the same time. And that's the kind of stuff where I'm like, okay, he's over or like he's getting over. And I think it is important that LA Knight at least comes out of it with some semblance of shine.
Yes.
If he doesn't win, but if he does, even better. But it's very important that Bray Wyatt wrestles again within the next 3 weeks.
100%. 100%.
And to me, that's more important, because I think I said to you on the SmackDown watch along a couple of weeks ago that for me it's gone on 3 weeks too long. I think they got stuck in between pay-per-view timings, or sorry, premium live event timings, and had to elongate it out a little bit too far.
I very much agree with you. Very much agree with you. 100%. And I'm a huge fan, but this it's been mishandled. And let's see what happens. I'll text you. I'll text you during the Rumble, and we'll, if Bray wins, maybe we'll reflect on that. Certainly we'll be doing a bunch of watch-alongs over on Give Me a Hull Yeah for those that come back to this. We'll be doing a bunch of watch-alongs on Give Me a Hull Yeah and over the next week, and you'll be welcome if you want to take part. I mean, if Jay White shows up, I'll be watching Raw on Monday with Dan, and I will watch SmackDown as well. I watch wrestling to be excited. I watch wrestling for fantasy and escapism, and that's why Bray appeals to me. I've always said that. But yeah, so we'll text and see what happens if we get any surprises. Like I say, Anthony and Dan have committed. The poor souls, they have committed to doing the live stream on Gimme a Hull Yeah. I have pre-booked my time off, so I am.
It's one of your two
favorites. Yeah, two favorites. I'm going to enjoy it. I'm going to enjoy it as a fan. I'm going to cuddle up with Emma, watch it on my TV, have some popcorn, a cup of tea, living the dream, man. Living the dream,
So that's a big question, by the way. Popcorn's a snack of choice, is it, for wrestling?
For me, I love like cinema sweet popcorn, dude. Like it's a proper thing. Like it's a proper little addiction for me. I love it. Cinema sweet popcorn, like the Butterkiss one. Also cups of tea. Love tea. I fucking love tea. Jam on toast tea.
You are from Yorkshire, so I'd expect nothing less.
There you go. Yeah, Yorkshire tea's jam on toast tea, guys. Go get it. It's in Morrison's. I'm waiting on my sponsorship deal. I have been retweeted a number of times by Yorkshire Tea, so I'm waiting on my sponsorship deal. We are sponsored by Chip Spice now, which is by American Chip Spice, which is a whole thing. If you didn't know that, Chip Spice is a whole thing, but it's called American Chip Spice, but it's from Hull. We are sponsored on the podcast by that, but I'm still waiting for my sponsorship by Yorkshire Tea. So yeah, tea, popcorn. Yeah. What about you, mate? What do you have? Your Rumble snacks of choice.
To be honest, I'm kind of like, I've always been more of a sort of savory guy. I do enjoy some salt popcorn.
Yeah.
I worked in the cinema for many years, so I still enjoy popcorn. A good bag of crisps of some description.
Yeah, man. Yeah, crisps. Yeah.
As we see, Kane coming out in
Kane, man. Yeah.
With Tori.
Yeah, man. Who does not look happy.
And that's the original Tori. That's not Tori Wilson. That's
that is. Yeah.
Who was in DX with and with X-Pac and Kane.
Yeah, Tori left Kane for X-Pac. That was it. The slap, man. I love that. I love that they did it. Yeah, every time they did a choke slam, it was like.
Yeah.
All of Kane's strikes were
beautiful. This is like his ring attire here is like classic Kane.
Yeah.
He just looks mean. Like he's also like again a massive guy, really in shape.
Yes.
That gimmick.
Yeah, you're right. There's not many gimmicks like Kane, No. I mean, you've got Bray Wyatt trying. This is the thing, and this is what people argue with me now. The age of Undertaker and Kane is gone, and Bray Wyatt's trying to do that in 2023, and I don't think he can. And that's an arguable point. It's an arguable point. Can you do what the Undertaker and Kane did, the supernatural stuff, which worked here? It worked in this environment. But, well, maybe less so. I don't know. As Godfather comes out with his associates.
I was wondering how you're going to phrase that.
Yeah. I mean, I've already sworn on your podcast, dude. So I'm not going to.
We moved on quickly. We didn't dwell on it. It's the main thing. apparently they used to go to the local establishments to pick up the associates. I don't know how
Really?
it is. Supposedly.
Oh, no way. I do remember the music was cool. The Godfather's music. I mean, let's talk about the Godfather. How many career reinventions did Godfather have?
So Papa Shango,
Papa Shango,
Godfather.
Karma Mustafa. He was Karma, Godfather, the Good Father.
What was he in the Nation of Domination? What was
Yeah,
he?
it was Karma.
Karma.
Karma Mustafa, yeah.
Because we see like the sixth instant replay of Taka hitting the ground face first.
Yeah.
It hasn't been since. We had Funaki coming in and out a couple of times.
Yeah, Big Show destroying Godfather.
So we have a little bit more of star power in the ring now because we have Kane, The Rock, Big Show.
X-Pac, one of my third favorite wrestler of all time, is well, actually, of all time. Actually, no, I'm not talking about. Yeah, no, my second favorite wrestler of all time is X-Pac because he was small, wasn't he? He was like a small guy who could do lots of cool stuff. I loved X-Pac.
Maybe
1 2 3 kid. 1 2 3 kid was my.
It's more a generation thing, but like I never understood the whole X-Pac heat that people.
I think it wasn't when he was it was when he was X-Pac. That was it. It was when he was X-Pac, and people just didn't like the weed smoking, kind of annoying little dude. I think people didn't like it.
Yeah. They have him as like for anyone who's kind of watching it isn't 100% sure what we mean. It's like that X-Pac heat is normally go away heat, but
yeah,
of someone's good character work. It's because they just generally like just get off my screen. I think the most recent example people seem to attribute it is Dominic Mysterio, who is actually, to be fair to him, has turned it around with the current like kind of gimmick that he's going down of hardened criminal that was in jail for all of 3 hours or something.
Yeah, man. Yeah, Dom Mysterio, hardcore Dom Mysterio is. But what people hate on it, but that's the point. We're supposed to hit on hardcore Dom Mysterio,
I actually thought like, even though we had the DX reunion like not that long ago, they played it quite well on Raw 30 that's just been.
Yeah.
So we're seeing two of the people who were in the ring on Monday night were in this match.
Absolutely, yeah. X-Pac went for the spinning heel kick. I always love that. But he goes straight out to the Rock. Wow, what well sold by X-Pac. We've got the Big Show and the Rock. Another, to be fair, these two had some legendary rivalries as well.
Oh, forget X-Pac isn't eliminated because the referees are too busy dealing with the of outside, so he gets back in. I did see an interview where he said that he would like to be invited to do one last Rumble.
What, Big Show?
X-Pac.
Oh yeah, no, he can do it now as well. Yeah, he can do it now. Like he's feeling better now. He was ill for a bit.
Yeah, because I saw it made me laugh on Monday where he said like they were kind of going through who could wrestle and who couldn't, sort of thing, and he was like, yeah, not me, and I was like, yeah, but you kind of already did an interview where you could, but
oh no, he can, yeah, he can still go.
Booker T can still go as well, by the way.
Oh yeah. I wouldn't be surprised if Booker made an appearance tomorrow. I mean on Saturday. I wouldn't be surprised. Oh, nice slam from Kane to the Big Show.
X-Pac eliminating Kane.
Yeah, man. X-Pac going for the Bronco Buster. This is what got years of this really damaged his bits. Apparently, went for the Bronco Buster, but then get Big Show. Gonna just throwing him out. He's definitely out that time.
This is the final two, right? There's no one else to come out.
Oh yeah, maybe.
Oh, The Rock just about managed to do a spine buster on Big Show.
Yeah.
But for the most electrifying move in all of entertainment.
All of entertainment. Here we go. Boom.
We haven't spoke about Rock in this match much at all.
No, we've been nattering, haven't we? But he's done a bit of an Iron Man showing from him as Big Show does the choke slam. What are you going to say about The Rock? Sorry, mate.
Yeah, it's an interesting one. As you say, he did enter, I'm sure, about halfway through, but hasn't done much in terms of like spots or anything in the match. He's just kind of been there. I do like it when a Rumble match when it comes down to the last two, where you get a mini match within it. I think I really enjoyed the one with Nakamura when Nakamura won it.
Oh yeah, man. Yeah, that's a missed opportunity. Oh, The Rock hung on and Big Show went down. And there is The Rock getting the win.
So Big Show has been taking his time before to pick which side he's going to throw The Rock out. And The Rock, as he throws him out towards the entrance, The Rock kind of grabs the ropes and pulls Big Show over in one motion. And Rock holds on, a la Shawn Michaels in 93, was it? 94?
Yeah.
So The Rock, but a little bit of text, I think. The next night, Big Show says he's got some footage to show, and it shows that The Rock's feet actually did touch the ground. So The Rock and Big Show have a match to determine who's going on to WrestleMania.
Yeah, good little moment this. But again, leading on to some cool stuff. That fatal four-way I loved. That was cracking.
Kind of breakup of the McMahon Helmsley faction.
Yes.
The Rock's doing what he does best in doing his top rope, kind of smelling the electricity in the air.
Yeah, man. It's again just a great showcase for The Rock. Do you know what I mean? It just again when he's arrived. You know what I mean? He's arrived.
Yeah.
At this time, really and truly.
He takes the microphone. Generally, try and send the crowd home happy. I know John Cena is very good at that for after events when the camera's cut off. He would normally do some sort of message to wish people well and a safe journey home.
Yeah.
But as we begin to wrap up here, is there any other kind of predictions or anything that you want to make as we head into what's possibly the best time in the wrestling calendar of the Royal Rumble into WrestleMania?
Yeah, man. Well, I'm predicting for me and you to have a very good time at WrestleMania. Fingers crossed. I'm looking forward to seeing you again. I've really enjoyed way more than I thought I was going to going back on this Rumble. Big Show coming out to attack Rock again. I'd forgotten this happened actually. Big Show just throwing. Predictions. Jay White, let's go Jay White in the Rumble 2023 for one. Rhea Ripley, I want Rhea Ripley to win. Yeah, man, those are my big predictions. But other than that, let's do this again soon. You know. Yeah,
definitely. Maybe we'll look to get a couple more people on and maybe do an elimination chamber.
Oh, I love elimination chamber. Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah,
I'm up for that. Well up for that.
Well,
and of course, you can come on to give me a whole whenever. I mean, SmackDown's the most accessible show. It's the best show of the week. Myself and Sam. Anthony's a proper snob. But you are more than welcome to join me and Sam on SmackDown. So yeah, if you feel like it between now and Elimination Chamber, yes, I'd love to come and hang out with you. Yeah, for sure.
I'm yet to do a watch along with Sam because he was off the first one. The second one he was doing Impact. So
yeah, we were competing with him, weren't we?
yeah, so we haven't done one yet.
You've met Anthony, haven't you?
Yes, he joined us for a little discussion as to who could be buying WWE.
Yeah. And Dan, yeah. Did you meet Dan? Did you meet Dan? I can't remember. Goatee, blue hair usually.
Yeah.
I've
seen him because I've watched some of your other streams. So
thanks, man. Yeah. So you'll meet him obviously at Mania. So we're well excited. But yeah, definitely get some live streams in. It's been a lot of fun. Like I say, I didn't expect it to be so nostalgic for me. Where I'm like watching, I'm spending a lot of time watching the action, just going, "This is so cool." Getting a bit lost in it. But yeah, it's really, really cool, man. Really enjoyed doing this for sure.
Well, it's been awesome having you. As we will wrap up, to be honest, this is a decent time because I'm more used to speaking to you and finishing at like 3 a.m.
Yeah, 3 a.m. Yeah, man, I'm excited. Like
bed before midnight is enticing. But we'll give you 1 minute. Plug whatever you want to plug. Twitter handles and places to follow you. Go for it.
Twitter handles down there. Go and follow Soundsphere. Go and follow Give Me a Hull. Yeah, it's all on this link. If you go follow me on Twitter, I've got a link tree with everything on it. So go and check that out. And thank you for your support. Thank you for supporting. Thank you for supporting this channel. Thank you for supporting Andy. Thank you for supporting Wrestling Royalty and Rush on Rock. Go and give them some support as well. Whether you're watching this, whether you watch this now, whether you're watching it back, any support you can give Andy is wonderful. He's a hardworking dude with a good heart and a good passion, a lot of passion for wrestling. So do support Andy and Rush on Rock and Wrestling Royalty as much as you can. And give me a follow on Twitter if you feel like it.
Great. As you can see, Dom's Twitter handle is there. So give him a follow. I love seeing some of the questions that he asks on Twitter. It's always good to see other people's opinions, whether it's on music or wrestling. He's well worth a follow. So definitely get involved there. From myself, thank you so much for anyone who's popped by at any point in the 2 hours 51 that we're on at the moment. For anyone who's going to be watching this back when it goes on YouTube. For anyone who is following me on Twitter and Facebook, we are cooking. There's big things on the way. It's only going to get more as we get across towards WrestleMania time. We'll be ramping that up. We'll be doing live stuff while we're out there as well, I'm sure. Really looking forward to that side of things. But loads of content has gone on rushonrock.com. Massive shout out to there. There's the Paris review from Sunday, which is such a good gig. Go read my review of them. There's a couple of wrestling pieces each week. There'll be one or two superstars to watch out for on WWE. Starting one came out on Wednesday, which was Bianca Belair and what's going to happen with her this year. Go check that out. Be a couple more Rumble things in the next kind of couple of days as well. So lots and lots of content to read over here on Soundsphere, on WrestleSphere when it comes out as well.
Thank you, man. Yeah.
Go check out Dean's Scenescape shop. Really talented guy. He popped across, had some comments earlier on. Always on hand to sponsor the show. So appreciate that as well. So yeah, basically enjoy the Royal Rumble. You might see me on a feed on Saturday night with Scott Warren from Reb Noise. So follow those guys and you'll see me join them on Saturday night. So big shout out to Scott, who Dom is also becoming fast friends with as well.
Yeah, man, he's a good lad. Good lad. I might be able to pop in. Depends. Obviously, it's a busy night, a big night. So, but if I can, I will. I would love to hang out with you guys. And if I can't make it, give my love to Scott because he's a legend.
We'll do that. This is a great time to end. I say thank you for joining us. We are at pretty much 20 to 12. Ordinarily, there are a couple of things we normally do, but we're kind of building into them. So I'm not going to spring on you. We normally do a little kind of wrestling royalty joust, which I'll explain to you in the future. So next time you join, I will expect you to have to do it.
Okay,
I'll explain that in the future. But for now, I'm going to put our outro on and end the broadcast. So thank you for joining us. I'll catch you real soon. See you guys.
That's real nice.